Off the deep end, I've been trying to take it slow on the weekend. Seem like everybody doing so much speaking. I ain't got no time for church, no speaking deacons. I take a puff of weed and lay back, trying not to lose control so I don't spray that. They said it's habit for me, I have to take that. Eating up the beef, I had to make. I had to kick that. I've been trying not to I've been trying to go off the deep end. I've been chilling the weekend. Got no time for speaking. Tell her no to the deacon. Get another lie. Supply, add to the murder. The change, trying to get rid of them. Everything supposed to be here is gonna keep going real quickly. Everything was should have even the air, I smell it. So the stress coming to this place, I built it. You know what I high rap, you know we rolled it. Try to knock control out the deep end. Don't give me a freaking reason. You telling all the lies. I don't know why the hell you speaking. I try to hold my composure. Try to be a brave king soldier. But you piss me off all the time. When you call names, man, long behold you. Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me, yeah. Love me for me. Love me for me. Love me for me. I'll do that. You love me for me. If you love me for me, give me your clever. Love me for me.
I say change your dreams. Do that thing, man, to keep you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man, that makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. You always, that thing, man, you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a new idea. That's what you got to change. I research all the time. I research, man, I can't go fucking blind. I research all the time. I research on a drop of a dime. And I ain't even sign, I research all the time. I research to out my freaking mind. Yeah, I research until I level up. I keep going deep. I gotta bubble up. I research all the time. I research, man, I never go blind. Third eye open, and I ain't even sign. Hey, y'all people crying, I don't know why y'all whine. This is justice coming due to you. You did it to others, it's gonna happen to you. Oh, sad, you blue. Oh, damn, got no clue. I ain't worried, how about you? I'm fine, what you do? I'm sorry I changed on you. I did what I had to do. Can't deal with that no more. I don't switch up on you. You can't be singing me blues like you done in store with the sport. I'm so glad I changed on you. I did what I had to do.
religion no more. Yeah, so glad I changed on you. I did what I had to do. Your lies had them holes. Oh, I had to change on you. I did what I had to do. You can't trick me no more. Your lies are just so see through. Running around there, give away. Can't find us close for shit no more. I had to switch on you. I could just see right through your bullshit lies. The whole Babylon can't trick me out. And I don't pump and fake me out. I'm too smart, my third eye is all about the war. You can't just fuck with me. I don't switch up on you. You tried to play me for real. So I had to put the brakes on it. You know I had to stop that shit. I seen you was trying to be slick with the war. Dirty games that you play. Try to make us fade away. Try to put us to sleep so we don't fight the war. See, so I had to change on you. I did what I had to do. I don't want your lies no more. I had to change on you. I did what I had to do. I don't want religion no more. I don't switch up on you. I see how you came us to, how you had the game us to. No more. You ain't gonna be gaming us. It's not in you we don't trust. We only trust in ourselves. Be ready for the war. I don't switch up on you.
At the end of every day, you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, should I get better? If the answer is yes, and you do that for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, how much better are you going to be?
I get better. I get better. I get better. I get better. Yeah, I get better. I get better. Hot in a Gucci sweater. I get better. Just so clever. I get better. I get better. Yeah, I get better. Just so clever. I get better. 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 Just too clever. Teaching for a long time. Teaching nothing but facts. Yeah, you must be out of your mind. I get better. I get better. I ain't walking leather. Just too clever. I get better. 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 I'm cold, hard, cold, and slowly stop it, slowly stop it, slowly block it. Don't get on my top. I go ahead and rock it. I get better. I get better. I get better. Watch the leather. Watch that leather. I get better. I put it together. I put it together. Ain't no fooling me. That third eye open. Going berserking. You're teaching that wrong thing, so I get better. I get better. So hard than a pretty sweater. I get better. I ain't walking leather, but get your shit together. I get better. Been doing it for a long time. Teaching hard all the time. Going hard, doing live. I'm a mind. Can't stop it. New topic. I get better. I get better. I rock it better. I get better. I get better. I wear leather. I get better. I get better. Go berserk in the studio. Teaching so hard. How you fall like oh my. See, I get better. 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 I put it all together. And you can stop it, cause the truth is so hard. That's all I teach. The facts, anything else is waxy. I get better. I don't do no religious superstition. See, I get better. I get better. And I ain't walking on leather. I get better. I get better.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. We're about to start this show. There are some things that's been happening that they not reporting. There's some people that's down with them who are also blowing the whistle. They do lose control of their own people, as you know. Elon Musk is now speaking out. Elon Musk is now giving severe warnings that when the Betelgeuse has the hypernova, they still call it a supernova. You know they got that wrong. Hypernova. And the thing about this Betelgeuse, this dying star that's literally going to explode, is that it's so close to the Earth. And it's actually at night. You look up in the sky at night. You find the brightest star in the sky, and that's Betelgeuse. That's how close it is. They tell you things is million, gazillion, all this crazy light years away. Really? Be all common sense to tell us that there's definitely, well, there's 300 planets in our district, but they try to tell you, that's why they made District 9 for 9 ether light beings, the movie. They throw everything in your face, man. You just got to catch it. So, man, it's just crazy. So hold on, y'all. Let me put this over here. Yeah, so, because you know I'd be getting distracted sometimes. So now, he's giving severe warnings about this. It is so close to the place we are, the platform that we're on, because that's what Earth really is, and Earth is not what you think it is. To give you I actually drew pictures for y'all before in the past of it, what it really is, the walls, the ice walls, past the walls, the gates, the walls. The book talked about how it was actually in all these different realms, 12 different rooms, and it's way more than 12 because it keeps going. It never stops. Many mansions. You got to catch it. You got to, like I said, decode stuff. All right, so hold on, I got to take me a drink. I need something to drink. But, anyhow, like I was saying, Betelgeuse is so close. Oh, I gotta explain what I said about the Earth first, though. Yeah, and there's more water, more land. So when you go through one gateway, it's not really a gate, it's like an arch way. You got to get there by boat. There's been some folks who's not supposed to be there who actually have went through there and they've seen some things that scared them. They not supposed to be there, obviously. Those are the lands that are ours. And the further you go, it never stops. The more water, the more land. Many of y'all wonder about these islands they talking about that they own. Think about it. Just think about what I just said, right? And they don't own them. They not theirs. You know, they'll tell you that people be all up on our lands. That don't mean just this one. That's all of them. I'm talking about past the walls. Anyhow, we here are not the only ones going through this in this district. There are some other districts, obviously, going through some of the same thing. These beings obviously invaded, but one of these beings, known as Elon Musk, is now talking out. He is petrified. This was going to be the day of, I keep telling y'all, the day of remembrance, the day of when you remember everything, all your past lives, you get your abilities, you fully, besides knowing who you are, and then hopefully by now you recognize who you are, you're acting in the sense of who you are. But it's going to be down to a whole other level. Some folks say, I'm a big mama say it's time to go, it's time to go. Talking about the ether. But also the signal, everything's a vibration, nothing happens without. Right? So, of course, they're going to try to do their own thing. They're going to try to combat this. You already know. That's why they told folks to do what they want them to do. And you know, I can't say exactly because of YouTube sitting up there messing with people's channels for no good reason. It is what it is, y'all. Yeah. They gave me a warning and talking about they're going to give me a strike next time. Although, my last videos were not violent. And yet they said they had violent content on it. So you really know what's going on. They've been trying to get rid of y'all teachers for a long time. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the very last few, right? That's teaching cold hard facts and showing the evidence that they most likely is trying to get rid of. It hasn't worked both ways they tried, even the fourth way they tried. So now they're back to trying to attack channels, which is just so petty. But anyhow, let's get back on the topic. So when you remember everything, you understand who you are and what you're on that day, when Beetlejuice has a hypernova. And yeah, it's going to cause lots of problems. It's going to destroy everything that they know. All their technology will be no more. Weapons, their weapons, understand, will not work against you. Those who are 144. You have to understand that it's coming down to the wire. And these evil people, all these things they have done that I've told you about already, from Venezuela, the whole 9 yards, right? And now Elon Musk is afraid because, oh snap, what are they gonna do now? I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to act out some type of way. They have nothing to combat this. And I'm pretty sure all the world probably gonna have some of the same problems. Okay? This is everything you know will be destroyed in 2 weeks whenever Beetlejuice explodes.
Is sounding the alarm once again, and this time it's about something that could shake up the entire planet. He's predicting that Betelgeuse, one of the largest stars in our galaxy, is about to explode in just 2 weeks. Furthermore, he's warning us that the impact could hit much closer to home than anyone thought. We're talking possible effects on Earth, specifically in parts of New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. Scientists have been watching Betelgeuse for years, but Elon's timeline has everyone wondering, could this be the cosmic event that changes everything? Will Elon's prediction come true? And if so, what does he know that the rest of us don't? Part 1. Elon Musk's Betelgeuse revelation. Are we facing a cosmic explosion in just 2 weeks? Elon Musk has always had a way of making headlines, but this time he's got the whole world talking about something that sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. The possible explosion of a star that could impact parts of New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. The star in question? Betelgeuse is a red supergiant that has fascinated scientists for years.
If you've ever dreamed of owning an apartment complex and you live near one of these cities, then you've got to see the same ad.
But the recent buzz comes from Musk's shocking claim that this star is about to explode in just 2 weeks, and its effects might not be as far away as we once thought. Let's start with Betelgeuse, one of the brightest stars you can see with the naked eye. If you've ever looked up at the constellation Orion, you've probably seen Betelgeuse without even knowing it. It's that reddish star marking the hunter's shoulder. But don't let its peaceful appearance fool you. This star is massive. It's about 700 times larger than our sun, which is mind-blowing in itself. And now, according to Musk and a few other experts, Betelgeuse is on the verge of what could be one of the most spectacular events we've ever witnessed, a supernova. Elon Musk's announcement didn't come out of thin air. There's been chatter in the scientific community for a while now about Betelgeuse showing signs of instability. For years, this red supergiant has been acting strangely, dimming and brightening in unusual cycles that have caught the attention of astronomers everywhere. One of the most notable instances was in 2019 and early 2020 when Betelgeuse dimmed so dramatically that it was visible to the naked eye. This caused a lot of excitement and speculation in the scientific world, with many experts suggesting that the star might be nearing the end of its life. After all, Betelgeuse is massive and ancient, a perfect candidate for a supernova. But while scientists have been carefully watching the star, No one was expecting someone to put a specific timeline on its impending explosion until Elon Musk dropped his bombshell. He's claiming that Betelgeuse could explode in just 2 weeks, turning one of the greatest mysteries in physics into a countdown. And Musk isn't entirely alone in thinking this. Michio Kaku, a renowned theoretical physicist, has also suggested that Betelgeuse's time could be running out soon. However, Kaku's take is a bit more cautious. While he agrees that the supernova could be imminent, he doesn't predict any direct consequences for Earth, unlike Musk, who warns of a possible impact. So what exactly does it mean for a star to go supernova? Essentially, a supernova is the death throes of a massive star. When a star like Betelgeuse runs out of fuel, it can no longer hold itself up against the force of gravity. The core collapses in on itself, triggering an explosion so powerful it can outshine entire galaxies, for a brief period anyway. When Betelgeuse does go supernova, it will likely be as bright as the full moon, possibly even visible during the day. That's pretty incredible, right? But here's where things get interesting, and a little scary, because Elon Musk isn't just saying this will be an epic light show. He's suggesting that the explosion could have direct and potentially devastating effects on Earth. In Musk's version of events, Betelgeuse's explosion could release enough radiation and energy to wreak havoc on parts of the US, particularly New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. The idea is that gamma rays and cosmic rays, types of high-energy radiation, could blast through space and mess with our planet's atmosphere. These rays can potentially disrupt satellite communications, electrical grids, and even the health of people exposed to high doses of cosmic radiation. While this sounds like something out of a disaster movie, it's important to remember that Betelgeuse is about 640 light-years away from us. That's a pretty significant distance, which is why most scientists don't believe the explosion will pose a direct threat to Earth. But the idea of it still gets people talking, especially when someone like Elon Musk is the one ringing the alarm bells. Let's talk a little more about why Betelgeuse is such a big deal in the first place. The star is located in the Orion constellation, which has been a part of human storytelling and mythology for centuries. Its brightness and size make it one of the most easily observed stars in the night sky. For astronomers, it's also a prime candidate for studying because its size and behavior give us clues about the life cycles of stars. Unlike our sun, which will quietly burn for billions of years before fading away, Betelgeuse is a ticking time bomb. Supergiants like Betelgeuse live fast and die young, on a cosmic scale at least. It's reached the end of its life cycle and will eventually collapse. But the question has always been, when? In late 2019, something strange happened. Betelgeuse, which usually shines brightly, began to dim. It dimmed so much that people started to notice it with the naked eye. Scientists were perplexed. Could this be the sign that Betelgeuse was about to go supernova? For a while, that was the popular theory, but then the star slowly began to brighten again in early 2020. This back and forth dimming behavior has only deepened the mystery surrounding Betelgeuse. While some scientists believe this could be a normal part of the star's life cycle, others think these fluctuations are a sign that its death is coming sooner rather than later. Now, we can't ignore the fact that predicting when a star will go supernova is notoriously tricky. The timeline for these things isn't exactly precise. For all we know, Betelgeuse could explode tomorrow, or it could keep chugging along for another 100,000 years. But Musk's recent claims suggest that something has changed. Maybe new data has come in, or maybe some observations haven't been fully shared with the public yet. Musk seems convinced that this isn't just a random fluctuation in Betelgeuse's behavior, but rather a sign that we're on the verge of witnessing one of the most powerful events in the universe. So, what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, according to Musk? First, we'll probably see Betelgeuse continue its erratic dimming and brightening as the star gets closer to its final collapse. If Musk's prediction is correct, we could then witness the explosion itself. If Betelgeuse does go supernova, it would be visible in the sky for weeks, possibly even months. During this time, it would be one of the brightest objects in the night sky, maybe even outshining the moon. And while the sight would be breathtaking, there's also the potential for disruption. When a supernova occurs, it doesn't just release light, it also releases enormous amounts of radiation.
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $197 for car insurance. No, thank you.
So some of you already know this, but for ones who haven't been told this already and have not researched this. So yes, we go radioactive. Our bodies are not like theirs. We also go electromagnetic, which is electricity, thunder, that sort of thing. Um, they make all these super, actually these heroes, cartoons and movies, and Star Wars, Star Trek, all that other stuff is about us and the wars with them. Not particularly the ones we're dealing with now, but their forefathers, which is the fallen ones. All right. That's why they had a good dark side and the light side. So they reversed it. It was some tricky stuff they did. Anyhow, when this thing happens, the hypernova, you are supposed to also get your abilities, all of your abilities. And if not all, at least most of them. We have 999 abilities. I suggest everybody, I keep saying this, stop eating meat, fruits, vegetable, and grain, like oatmeal, but fruits and vegetables. More fruits and vegetables than more fruits, sorry, than vegetables. Okay? Eventually you will get your body off of that and you can learn to live off the sun. Now, radioactive energy, it's going to send a lot of energy. And this is also the thing they worry about. Because they worried about our people. They worried about who's the 414, who's the indigo children, where they at? And of course, we all know they try to find them. They got a list. Y'all know this, people. They got a list. So this happened. It will spoil some of their plans. Doesn't mean they're still not going to try to go on with it and try to do something, because these rascals. But a lot of people that get their abilities because they don't understand what's going on, and the fact is that they are really part of this matrix still. Instead of unplugging from the matrix, they're gonna lose their mind. Then you're gonna have everybody's thoughts in your head. Everybody's thoughts is gonna be in your head. You're no longer gonna have to use your language. It's not even our language period. You also able to talk, without using your mouth or your voice. Everything for you will change, but there's going to be a lot of people that will not be able to take this. It's going to freak them out. They go crazy. We have a lot of videos today. We have a lot of videos today. It's important. The collapse. If you didn't know, you know. The collapse, there's no avoiding it. And to be honest, it's right upon us. Literally, it's right upon us. The collapse is about to happen. Well, it's already happening, to be honest. And when this thing goes down, they did a study. It takes 2 weeks. 2 weeks, y'all. That's it, 2 weeks. Before people start trying to steal it from the neighbors and violence happens in the cities. 2 weeks. Not to mention that if that's the case, and if that thing destroys, it destroys what's the word? All your electricity. It destroys all your appliances that would have worked. What's gonna happen now is that the pumps that keep your sewage down. A lot of folks don't actually know this. There are pumps that keep your sewage down. What am I saying? So when you flush your toilet and it goes down to a certain place, what you call the sewage or the sewer, there's a certain place where all this stuff gets pumped down. It gets pushed to certain places, okay? By pumps, excuse me. And when the pumps aren't on because it takes electricity, there's nothing pushing it the way it's supposed to go. What does that mean for you? That means that within those 2 weeks, In some cases, 3 days. The sewage will back up into your toilets, into your tubs, into your sinks. The city is going to be disease infested. You will not be able to stay in the city anyway. That's why they made the movie Leave the World Behind. And it's actually deeper than that, because you want to leave this district. You want to leave this matrix, which was once a beautiful heavenly school, which they turned into just a jacked up hell. Let me tell you something. If this was still a heavenly school, there'd be no diseases. Nobody would be dying. Learning all this stuff would have been way easier. We've been way past this. We was at such a high level that when they first attacked, they couldn't even fuck with us. Hold on, we got some comments here. Sorry, y'all. I was trying to miss comments. I just wanted to. That's peace and love to y'all too, family. Peace and love all the way. All right. Now, we're gonna get off that topic. We're gonna go talk about this collapse. If this collapse happens, seriously, y'all, there's not gonna be any money. You know they're gonna try to go digital. No, ain't no try. They're gonna go digital. You already know this. You know this. They're gonna try to force people to do something, which is really at the end of it, it's not gonna help you. Because when this hypernova happens, all that digital is destroyed. You understand? So this is a ploy to get y'all to do what they want you to do. And it is going to be a real disease this time around. But this time around, it's going to be, they're going to have a fake one, but it's going to be a real one. But the real one that comes is going to be because of what they have done before. Okay? Read between the lines. So if you did what some people wanted you to do, and they're going to use you as an excuse why people are morphing into things and say everybody should take something, do mandatory something. And they're going to try to enforce it. Civil war. It looks, it's looking like it. I'm going to get to that. And yes, they did. There's talking about some ballistic nuke. That and listen, they already hit Russia with Ukraine with one of them already. And Russia was going to fire back. One of the Russia's Satan II missiles exploded. You can look this up on YouTube. They're not even hiding it. They don't care anymore. They think our people are stupid. And if you see it, it won't matter. It won't make a difference. They believe they can put you back to sleep. And they can't. But this is how cocky they are, how prideful they are, how big-headed they are. So when this collapse happens, now what's the only thing that's really good for you is, well, water, although water is chemically unbalanced if you actually research water. Also, the only thing that's really good for you really is fruits and vegetables. And really you need to start planting your own, because the food they do is messed up now. The food now is messed up. So because they're doing stuff to it, as you already know. So without further ado, let's go ahead.
Greetings, my dear beloved children. Today I would like to tell you about the things that are now in progress on Earth in the camp of the dark forces. You see, they are in such a hurry to compress their program on humanity enslavement in all the spheres of your life as much as possible. For this purpose, they have brought into action all their resources, military.
Now look, y'all know this is exactly what they're doing. This lady had a dream. that she's seen black folks and white folks, all type of ethnic groups, go into a poor country in slavery. And you see a lot of people, a lot of your citizens have been missing. I ain't talking about the ones that's been vanishing out of thin air. They got them to take vanishing out of thin air, literally. I'm talking about the ones that people, they just go missing. And there's a lot of people, adults, gone missing, which means that this thing's already started. You understand? So this poor country, whoever it is, it's going to be rich. What a coincidence, though, that that place they call Africa, the fake Africa, is rich. And they're going to be rich. Right now, they're rising in power. Anybody see this coincidence? And everybody, and of course, it's not the real Africa, it's fake Africa. And folks in Africa don't even call it that. But of course, everybody should see now that the Blackamoors, yeah, they're going to go back to their place in Africa. The Blackamoors, who are the kings of Africa, fake Africa that is going to go back home, and they're going to want slavery. This is exactly why they told people to do certain things. Hopefully nobody here has done it who's watching it. And if anybody is here who has done it that is watching it, there's reverse. Look up JWTV. I won't say more than that. There's one guy who was actually selling the stuff. Well, let's just say he ain't around no more. So, you know, and y'all know Mr. News gotta be careful. I ain't gotta be careful. I just try to be a little careful. I know some of my brothers who's watching is already yelling at the screen saying, man, fuck that shit. I talk to y'all on the phone. You're probably laughing right now because I just said that. But hey, man, let's roll it.
Political, economic, financial, and informational. Yet everything they are doing now has been brought not simply to the point of absurdity this time, but sometimes to clownery indeed. This is exactly the reason why all their actions, as a result, turn out against them themselves. Manifestations and protest actions have overwhelmed almost all European countries because even the people who are far from politics start realizing that things go wrong and unnatural in their countries. They see that their own governments solve somebody else's problems and serve somebody else's interests, neglecting the needs of their nation. It is becoming so apparent now that illusions of these countries' population in respect of their governments are vanishing into thin air. In the long run, all this plays in hands of people, since the upcoming disclosure will not come as a complete shock for them, which could be the case just a few years ago. They will clearly see the proofs of all the things that honest politicians, journalists, scientists, doctors, and ufologists will start speaking about. They will understand that all this is true and not the conspirology or conspiracy theories which the mainstream media has been trying to persuade them for all the recent years. Of course, for many it will be shocking anyway, but not for the majority as it was the case before. In other words, there has accumulated the critical mass of Earth's population that is ready to hear the truth. And consequently, in consistence with the law of attraction, this truth is about to shoot up in the shortest time. Therefore, my dear, be ready for the fact that the time for you to act is arriving. It is you who is to explain to people all the details of the current events, provide them with additional information that you have at your disposal, tell about ascension to those who are ready to hear, and help them get rid of the fear of the unknown. In a word, to put to practice all the knowledge you have received for these years. Reread my series of messages that provide tips and recommendations on the work with people. It will help you refresh them and get tuned onto a specific wave. And of course, do not forget about the means of personal hygiene so as to remain at the level of high vibrations yourselves and promote their increase in terms of other people. Use all the methods for identification of your interlocutors that you were provided with in my recent messages, including rough and fine energy tuning, as well as human psychotypes identification. Lend a keen ear to your intuition and do not reject the service of chakrometer so that your communication with other people runs casually and cheerfully, being as efficient.
Okay, hold on now. So when this collapse happens, it's going to be bad. But this is going to go ahead and forward because I'll speed it up. You got a lot of videos, and I got more I got to add. Not the ones I just put on the screen. There's going to be those of us who's going to decide to live a life away from being connected to the matrix, their grid, and decide to get off grid and make our own grid. That's trying to basically really detaching from this life. I'm on the phone, bro. Damn. Oh, man. From this life. Everybody called the wrong time. So anyways, they'll detach from this life, this way of life, I should say. And there'll be those who will go along with the life that they're presented with. And that life is, of course, taking something you should never take. So they say everybody's going to choose. There's going to be a clear decision on which side you decide to take. Okay, and we got a really good one for you. Now, the Mayans, and to set this up, the Mayans, right? They whitewashed the Mayans. Where's the Mayans at in the United States of America? Okay, so bam. Why they do that? So that you would not study the Mayan story to find out about you. Okay? At least some of us anyway. So hold on now. Let's play it. They whitewashed the Mayans on purpose, and that's in America. And what they had called Egypt. Come on, y'all. I told y'all. All the biggest pyramids is in America. Other the pyramids and all that fake Egypt. Stop playing me, man.
The whitewashing of American history has been an ongoing process for centuries, presumably since the inception of colonialism. Hordes of certified charlatans have fought endlessly to bury the ugly black truth. Even today, several institutions are built upon layers of deceptive historical fuckery. The foundation of this deceptive historical fuckery is the fallacious idea that all so-called black people or Negroes were brought to the Americas from Africa. They want you to think that every Negro that has ever been on the continent was brought as a slave from Africa. And America was virtually uninhabited, unless you count the small bands of Siberian savages who apparently walked across the world through the snow to discover a vast land unoccupied by one single person. Imagine how silly that sounds. Foolish facts are taught in schools and taken as true. Our job is to burn the veil that blinds the public and stand confidently on the truth, giving insight to those blinded by the deceptive fuckery. The books were cooked long before the Lambda Calderon put the Mayan manuscripts on the burner. But now we finna write our own book and cook they ass. The unseasoned processed recipes of the calcified con artist only resemble food to those with the taste buds of toddlers. Those of us with a more refined palate require actual food to sustain our hunger. Expecting the food being cooked by these charlatan chefs at these universities and institutions to be of any quality is like expecting Kamala Harris not to say anything stupid.
Unburdened by what has been.
Some things are inevitable. That's why we just cook at home, because we are tired of eating their bullshit.
I do think of bacon as a spice. I do think of bacon as a spice.
I do think of bacon as a spice.
A heaping pile of bullshit lies, not just about history, but about culture, race, and creation. In this episode, we investigate the lies surrounding the Olmec and Maya civilizations, their connection to Egypt, and uncover the true race of the Mayan.
You heard that. Their quest to Egypt and America, because the Mayans is in America, and their quest to find out who really was, wink, wink, the Mayans, because they know who the Mayans were. They just didn't want to tell you, but eventually they got to tell you, so now they telling you.
Let this fact be initially noted. No accredited academic institution will allow any deviation from their accepted narrative of the status quo. A quote ironically attributed to Napoleon, history is a set of agreed upon lies. But whose agreement are these lies upon? Who has the authority to say, this is what happened? Who owns the copyright to world history? As we continue to poke holes in their script, we can clearly see their writers are not to be trusted. Well, they can be trusted to do what they do. And what do?
Why you always lying? Oh my God.
They lie.
Full of fresh South Carolina collard greens.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest lies they created is the lie of race. It is not what we have been taught. First, they'll tell you there were no black people or Negroes in America, but when faced with evidence to the contrary, they scramble to create new theories. Then they'll say, regardless of this, the Siberians were here first. But anyone who's been studying this history long enough knows that the oldest art anywhere in the Americas, North, Central, or South America, depicting its people or inhabitants were by and large depictions of Negroes, aka black people, purposely miscategorized as Africans. But this isn't just an argument about race, but rather an exhibition of erroneous behavior by the powers that be, and the falsification of race in the academic setting as a key component of that erroneous behavior. And that erroneous behavior is indicative of a larger conspiracy to hide the truth and falsify history. This video will focus on the areas once occupied by the Olmec and Maya, more specifically, Veracruz, Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, the Guatemalan highlands and lowlands, and El Salvador, as opposed to the Aztec, Mexica, Toltec occupied territories that we highlighted during the Anubis episode. Most Mesoamerican historians and scholars will tell you that there's no real relationship or connection between the Maya and Aztec. The accepted chronological record leads most to believe the Olmec and Maya were settled long before the Aztec are said to have arrived in the Central Valley of Mexico from their assumed migration from the north. The origins of the Olmec and Maya are more mysterious. Unlike the legends of Aztlan, no one knows exactly where they came from or where they went. Why is it that these so-called historians say there's no connection between the Aztec and Maya? Why are they trying so hard to dispel this connection? They are closer to each other than Miami and Jacksonville, and coexisted during the same time, at least from the beginning of the Aztec, which they say is around the 1300s, until the fall of the Maya in the late 1600s. But let the charlatans tell you, they've never even seen or heard of each other, much less had any real relationship. How plausible is that? But we're not here to point out holes in this more than unlikely assertion necessarily, but rather highlight this no contact, no relationship fallacy as a template for the charlatan mode of operation moving forward. It would seem almost impossible for these two large civilizations to have coexisted separated by just a couple hundred miles and have no knowledge of each other. But hey, that's what the charlatans say. It seems even more impossible considering the vast expanse of the Maya influence. In the Hidden Hand episode, we demonstrated that there were even connections between the Maya and the pudding-faced niggas of the Midwest, as well as other artifacts found in the southeastern United States that were visibly exhibiting Maya and other Mesoamerican characteristics. Be all this as it may, in this installment, we concentrate on the Maya and to a lesser extent the Olmec to uncover the lies surrounding the narratives of the ancient Yucatan in Central America.
And you deal with
They can't stop us. No matter what they do, they can't stop us. Lex. They can't stop us. Lex. Nah. They can't stop us. Yeah. We ain't build no slave ship. We ain't make those anchors. We ain't plot those grave sites up since daylight. Word about the things we try to make right. It's gonna be a late night. So much turmoil makes my blood boil. Kundalini encore. Earth is sunbroad. Dirt is unsoiled. With one chord, tell a story that some spoil. Watch it unfold. Stories untold. Copyright unsold. Books with one spine. Ghosts with one soul. They want control. You want control. But we share one goal. We fight one foe. Satchel front door. And it keeps knocking, but the people kept rocking. Yeah. It keeps knocking, but the people kept rocking. Yeah. Stop. Flex. Whatever they do. They can't stop it. Keep knocking. Yeah. They can't stop us. No. They can't stop us. No. They can't stop us.
When studying the ancient remains from past civilizations, one of, if not the most consequential issues is attempting to establish chronology. Without a clear chain of documented writing or history, trying to nail down a specific period of time a civilization began and ended is nearly impossible. That was until the miracle of the charlatan sciences. The so-called experts have achieved the impossible. Their methods of radiocarbon dating are so accurate they can determine the birth date of a monkey man who lived 50,000 years ago. So a couple of old savage jungle pyramids is child's play. According to their expertise, the Maya just disappeared, vanished without a trace. That story sounds familiar. The charlatan hierarchy of Mayanist academics say that the Mayan Empire began to fall between the years 750 and 900, but also outlasted the Aztec Empire, which fell in the mid-1500s. The Maya are said to have lasted at least until the late 1600s. According to the experts, the construction dates of Mayan complexes were engraved in hieroglyphics within the walls of the complex. The linguists who deciphered the writings gathered through their research that the last complexes to be constructed were around the 900s. So not only do these top experts have the technology to date back millions of years, like with the Grand Canyon, they also possess the linguistic and hieroglyphic proficiency to resurrect a dead script and language with absolute exactness. What can't these people do? Other than tell the truth, of course. Well, they can't date any stone tools, metal objects, or human-made pottery. They can only date organic matter, such as plants, trees, or animal or human skeletal remains. When they do attempt to carbon date pottery or some implement made by a human, they look for any organic matter in the vicinity, date that organic matter instead, then attribute the date of that organic matter to the object. So if you find an ancient chicken bone in a bowl, the bowl might as well be the chicken bone. Seems legit. No need to mention the numerous inaccuracies radiocarbon dating is guilty of producing. You can test that chicken bone 463 times. We just needed to come back 300 BC because I already told the Smithsonian that the bowl, that the bowl was 2,000 years old, plus that little 300-year buffer off the chain. It'll make it look more legit. You feel me? As claimed by their dating sources, the earliest Mayan settlements sprang up around 1500 BC in a time they call their pre-classic era, which lasted roughly until the year 250 when they supposedly entered their climax during the classic era from 250 to 900. After 900, they call the post-classic era. Those same dating sources say the Olmecs rose up around the year 1200, and yet somehow historians say the Olmec are the mother culture for all other Mesoamerican civilizations, including the Aztec and Maya, although they allegedly had no contact. The Olmec occupied the Mexican state of Veracruz, apparently at the same time as the Maya, lived in the neighboring Yucatan, and just like the Maya, no one knows what happened to them. They weren't even discovered by the charlatans until 1850, which was far too late in the academic game to fabricate an Olmec post-colonial slave narrative. Now, as the charlatans put it, if the Olmec are supposed to be the mother culture of Mesoamerica, shouldn't that mean that they were the first people to occupy that land? And if that's the case, does that mean that they're saying that this part of the world was completely unoccupied until 1500 BC? They paint themselves into a fine corner with all of this totally legit scientific information. Their precision impeccable, their ethics invisible. What would happen if one were to discover or ruin in Olmec or Maya territory that would predate 1500 BC? Then what? Does the entire timeline all of a sudden change? And if it changes, what good was your chronological bullshit to begin with? It's good for dating organic material, apparently. So take corn, for example, in which they claim it can be accurately dated, as maintained by their dating sciences. Corn was first domesticated and harvested on large scale in Mexico 9,000 to 10,000 years ago. But who were the people harvesting the corn? Couldn't have been the Aztec. They weren't even a thing yet. Couldn't have been the Maya or the Olmec. They weren't a thing yet either. So who? Oh, that's right. It was the Siberians. Man, those darn Tartarians. The backbone of any good science argument should always begin with the monkey man cave migration. They brought their Siberian corn seeds across that ice. My bad. They discovered corn and America, then crossbred that corn with other plants to create the corn we know today. Man, pretty impressive for a people who never ate vegetables, nor had any history of agriculture. Considering the genome home of a brand named Native American is the cold, arid tundra of Mongolo Field, it should be no surprise that their diet mostly consisted of fish and other sea creatures, as well as a few sprigs of wild foliage, because the lands from which they ancestrally descend are agriculturally unfit to produce anything. That was till they crossed that ice, boy, and went to a place no one had ever been, an entire continent devoid of any person throughout the history of time. And they got that corn popping, boy. And then after they got that corn popping, boy, they was like, hey, man, let's go bang out some pyramids and shit, dog. But before we do that, let's go make some big-ass statues of some niggers to throw everybody off in 5,000 years. Shit will be hilarious.
This is in northern Guatemala, actually taken from the top of one of the higher pyramids at Tikal, and it's a tropical monsoon forest here. That's the original vegetation of the Maya lowlands. However, we do know from pollen studies that have been made by the palynologists that, in fact, this forest is a regrowth, that the Maya had most of it cut down, as a matter of fact, towards the end of the classic period due to their agricultural practices. But essentially, before humans came into this is what this area looked like.
Freudian slip. He meant to say, before my European brethren, the white man.
Before humans came into this is what this area looked like. It's a tropical forest civilization that arose there. Now, in that kind of environment, to make a living, of course, these people are maize, corn agriculturalists, maize, beans, squash, chili peppers, and a host of other domesticates, but essentially maize farmers. Within the last 20 years or so, we have come to know from aerial surveys and on-the-ground checking of this, and even through a certain amount of radar survey using side-looking airborne radar, that there is another form of cultivation which was highly intensive in the swampy, low-lying areas, which are very extensive in the Maya region. They cut what are basically ditches and canals, sort of the way the land of Holland was rescued, or the fens of eastern England, through drainage, leaving rectangular plots which are continuously wet and using the mud from the ditches to basically fertilize these plots. And this is a highly intensive form of agriculture that was practiced in not really over the whole Maya area, but in certain important places. So they could probably support a lot more people than we gave them credit for, let's say 50 years ago, when we thought slash and burn cultivation was the only kind. There are very, very high populations. We know, I won't go into this here now, but there's excellent evidence from archaeological survey that the populations in the Maya area were tremendous. There were millions of people living in that area that by, let's say, 1000 AD probably had only a few thousand.
Here we go. Okay, friends, I want to jump to the map here. And what I want us to do is get a good idea of the geography of my territory. So the first thing I want us to do is zoom out and get a big picture of the Americas, right? South America, you got North America there. Now, the thing that I want us to pay attention to, right? Thing I want us to pay attention to now are the continental divides, all right? Particularly, in this case, particularly the Great Western Divide, all right? Now, the Great Western Divide is all the way down at the tip of the Andes down there in South America, going all the way up through the entire continent of South America, through Central America, through Mexico, on up through the Rockies. By God, if it don't end up there at the dang Eastern Siberian Sea, possibly the Bering Strait, depending on the line of delineation. So, of course, on the eastern side of the Andes down there in South America, everything's going to flow into the Atlantic, and everything to the west flows into the Pacific. And that's why you see there in Peru and Chile, you see the land, how it's a little dry down there, all the desert and all that right there. Like right there at the edge of Lima to the south, all right? Now, you see that mountain range goes all the way up to Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and, of course, Mexico, all right? The majority of the lands that were occupied by the Maya were on the east of this divide in the lowlands, all right? That's where the lands is low, okay? They primarily inhabited the Yucatan. However, their civilizations or their footprints go all the way down to El Salvador. Now, the southern extent of the Mayan Empire, according to the top Mayanist historians, the southern extent heads down to El Salvador. It doesn't even go into Nicaragua. So they say no Mayan sites have been found thus far into Nicaragua. Now, you can consume that with all the Morton you'd like, all right? Just watch out for the high blood pressure, friends. And I want to draw attention to two sites down there in El Salvador, the most southern extent of the Maya footprint. One of these sites is called Casablanca. The other one's called Carasucia. Now, at this Carasucia site, there was actually an artifact found that looks nothing like an Egyptian artifact. You look at this son of a bitch here. All right? It's not an Anubis. It's not no kind of dog you ever seen. Got nothing to do with nothing, all right? We're going to keep it moving. Now, the Casablanca site is a site that they say is part of the Maya civilization, although they do say it has characteristics of Aztec or Huastec influence, okay? Nothing past that old Coco River down there in Nicaragua, the little border down there between Honduras and Nicaragua. We won't travel north, all right? So, according to the historians, the most northern extent of the Olmec/Maya civilization. So, now, as I was explaining the extent of the southern Maya Empire, that doesn't necessarily correlate with the old Olmecs, you know, the rubber band mans up there in the northern part, okay? So, I'm saying all that to say that the Olmecs, there's right there in that little elbow down there in the Yucatan, okay? Now, the most northern extent of the Olmec/Maya influence was probably El Tayin, all right? That's a nice old pyramid up there, okay? Now, the experts say that El Tayin also has a little bit of that Aztec influence, a little Huasteca, you feel me? So, we you know, it's kind of like a hybrid. The further out you go, the more stuff gets hybrided. That's it's probably a genetic thing, too. We're going to keep it moving, all right? It's probably a genetic thing. Now, right here in this little Yucatan elbow, this is where the Olmecs was doing their thing, boy. All right? There's quite a few Olmec sites, all right? You got plenty of Olmec sites over here, you know, with more big heads and more big lip bastards. You got him with the hard P, that Tres Zapote, you know, out this son bitch. You feel me? Now, look at that boy face right there. You got that old Siberian face, man. You got them Tartarian lips there, boy. You got that yak fade, boy. Look at that son bitch right there. Looking like a straight Tartarian, Siberian. Looking like he walked across the barren straight barefoot, boy. Look at that boy. Yeah, man. Tartarian if I ever seen. Because, I mean, obviously he got that barren straight face. That Tartarian taper. That Siberian shape up. I can't think of no more. You got the Inuit perm. You got that Falkland fade. I don't know where the I don't think that's not right. You got that Aryan afro. All right, I guess there's nothing here. Oh, there's something there. I can't find it, and it's making me mad. I mean, they say they're ball players, but maybe that ball's ping pong ball. Ping pong player. Yeah. Those ball courts, they were ping pong courts. I bet you up on there help he got a damn flamenco fade. This some bitch gotta let it line up. Their Moscow mullet. There's some other heads out there. You got the La Ventas, right? You got the dang La Venta heads over there. You got the San Lorenzis over there. I don't know much about anything, but there was some old big lip bastards over there on the Veracruz coast, and they was most likely Siberians. Let's keep it 100, boy. What them boys say? Let's keep it 100. That's all I'm talking about. Let's keep it 100. Now, they ain't got the nice face on now. That's them rubber band mans, boy. They say they ball players, boy. You know what I'm saying? They're them Siberian, they're the Huskies. Team name, they're the Huskies, man. Ping pong player. Since they say that the Olmecs there, they kind of like the mother civilization. They just say everything kind of broke off from them, right? Now, the Yucatan is an interesting place, right? I don't know if y'all ever heard the little thing in school where they said that big asteroid hit the Yucatan, right? And when that son bitch hit the Yucatan, the whole dang dinosaurs just died out, just flopped, just gone. Hey, it was it right there. This the spot right here. By God, Yucatan. All right. Flamed all them dinosaurs up. Stinked in a mug out this mug, boy. Can you believe that? We're not here to talk about your belief in dinosaurs. We're not talking about that, all right? We're not. I can't talk about that right now. But the Yucatan, like I was saying, that big old asteroid hit the dang edge up there in Merida, up there about where they make that bread at, you feel me? Up there in the dang North Yucatan, out there, you know what I'm talking about, out there at the neck. You know what I'm talking about? Out there at the neck. Now once that thing hit, it switched up now. It changed the whole land, boy. The whole land, you know, that's how come they got all them reserves out there. They say that the Yucatan is probably one of the most biodiverse places there is. Got a whole bunch of new wildlife out there. That's after, you know, all the old wildlife died right there. Right? It's the spot of the dinosaur apocalypse. The dinosaurs died I wonder if Yucatan means dead dinosaurs. Dinosaur apocalypse, or the end of the dinosaurs. Well, anyway, they say that Yucatan is one of the most biodiverse places on Earth. All right, they got all kinds of turtles and birds and all kinds of whatnot. The majority of the land out there is limestone. It's that old soft stuff. Got sinkholes and everything. They ain't really got many rivers, okay, but they got them underground rivers, okay, because what them sinkholes do is create a bunch of underground cave systems, all right, a bunch of sinkholes and caverns out there in the Yucatan, boy. And this is where the Mayans was. Now, they was out there with them caverns and sinkholes. They was wilding, you feel me? So you got plenty of sites over there, man. You can see the vicinity between them and the Olmecs, and of course, you can also see the vicinity between them and the Aztecs, although they say they ain't had much contact with one another. You can believe that if you want to, you feel me? You know what I'm talking about? So out there in the Yucatan, you know, right adjacent to that little elbow out there, you out there at the neck, right? You got several mine sites, man. I mean, come on now. You got Palenque, you got Piedras Negras, you got Pomona, you got Ixtla, you know what I'm talking about? You got Uxmal, you got Mayapan, man. You got dang Chichen Itza, boy. You got Tulum, boy. You got Tulum out there, boy. Quirigara, you got Copan out there, boy. Now, this is where the majority of the mines was kicking it now. It was out there in the damn Yucatan kicking it, all right? I think one of the more interesting things about this whole mine thing, as you can take a look at their geography, is that they had access to two oceans, all right? They had access to the Atlantic. There's out there in the Gulf, right? And then the western part of their empire had access to the Pacific. Now, at a time when everybody, especially the Europeans, was in the age of discovery and renaming things and claiming things, what thing was they trying to do? They was always looking for old Northwest Passage, trying to find a quick way to India, you know. Apparently they were looking for India, right? Well, whether you believe that or not, we all know that they was always looking for a shortcut. They was trying to cut through somewhere to try to get to the other side of the world. You talk about influence, you being able to travel the world within your own borders without having to circumvent an entire continent, let's say. Wasn't no Panama Canal, boy, at this time. The Panama Canal was Maya territory. I'm just saying all that to say this. By God, that's my geography right there. Learn something, boy. Learn something, boy.
So this first contact with Maya urban spaces came in the 19th century. This is very, very late in order to discover a lost civilization. It had really been buried away in the jungle with very, very little news reaching the outside world until the first few decades of the 19th century. Then you have explorers who are penetrating into the forest. They're following up on rumors of places that they should visit. And in this case, before photography, they're doing lithographs and drawings and taking molds and generally coming back to the Western world and announcing these amazing things left in the forest. And we go up now to the end of the 19th century because this is Tikal as well, excavated as certainly as trees cut down by Alfred Maudsley. And this is a period when really we don't know very much about Maya society or civilization at all. This is still the very, very beginnings of our understanding.
Quote, Maya, The Riddle and Rediscovery of a Lost Civilization by Charles Gallenkamp. Shout out to Harry Hubbard. He actually gave me this book a while back. John Lloyd Stevens is considered the father of Maya archaeology. So we're going to jump ahead to page 45 in this book. Quote, as early as 1840, John Lloyd Stevens stated in his book, Incidents of Travel in Central America, Chiapas, and Yucatan, that the ruins he had explored were those of an indigenous civilization, which developed apart from any outside influences. He categorically ruled out the principal sources of foreign inspiration from which Maya culture might have sprung. I set out with the proposition that they were not cyclopean, he wrote, and do not resemble the works of Greek or Roman. There was nothing in Europe like them. So far as Asia was concerned, Stephens found little evidence for serious comparisons. He saw no similarity between Maya buildings and those of ancient China or Japan. And he emphasized the complete absence in Mexico and Central America of the artificially excavated caves and rock chambers typical of Buddhist and Hindu temples. Stephens then challenged the premises on which Maya and Egyptian architecture were so often equated, particularly the occurrence of pyramids in both regions. The pyramidal form, he observed, is one which suggests itself to human intelligence in every country as the simplest and surest mode of erecting a high structure upon a solid foundation. It cannot be regarded as a ground for assigning a common origin to all people among whose structures of that character are found, unless the similarity is preserved in its most striking features. Egyptian pyramids, he pointed out, were characteristically uniform in design and intended solely as burial places. By contrast, those in America varied greatly in form and were constructed primarily to support temples or shrines on their summits. With regard to other types of structures, Stephens noted that massive columns, a distinguishing feature of Egyptian architecture, were absent in Mayan ruins, nor do they exhibit the dromos, avenue of approach, the pronaos, porch or vestibule, or the adytum, inner sanctum, usually found in Egyptian temples. He cited marked differences in comparative methods of construction and decorative embellishment, and the relatively small stones used by the Maya were, in Stephens' words, scarcely worthy of being laid in the walls of an Egyptian temple. He's basically saying that Maya temples were built out of shit, and those huge granite slabs that are used in temples in Egypt are superior in quality. Furthermore, he conceded only the most superficial resemblances between the sculpture of the two areas. If there be any at all, he declared, it is only that the figures are in profile, and this is equally true of all good sculpture in bas relief. Exploding as they did in the midst of overwhelming opinion to the contrary, Stephens' speculations were as daring as they were prophetic. In refuting the assumption that Maya civilization stemmed from Indo-European sources of inspiration, he had advanced a revolutionary hypothesis now greatly accepted by archaeologists. The works of these people, he insisted, are different from the works of any other known people. They are of a new order and entirely and absolutely anomalous. They stand alone. End quote. When the Maya ruins were first discovered.
So to tell you the secret behind this as well, when the war started, because we had a war, we fought amongst each other. They tell you this. When we fought amongst each other, there was a big time war started. Not just amongst us, but also against the Black Moors. That's before they brought all their buddies back. Well, I say brought them here. They wasn't here before. That's before that time. But if you notice, each people are disappearing, quote unquote, disappearing at a certain time. Could this be the time when wars were happening between our people, but at the same time, people were invading our particular plateau where we were staying in the United States? Right? That would make more sense than somebody just disappearing. They whitewashed all these people history, which are our people. Not that I'm telling you use all these names, because of our names we gave ourselves at the time. Before, we didn't go by a name. That was the trick in that book you call the Bible, those that go by my name. Well, if the ether doesn't have any name, we just call it the ether, or the mama, which is really not a name. Why we have a name besides 9 ether? Again, the Bible, of course, is a book that you have to decode. It's a coded book. Now, in America, is where they're seeing these things in the museums. Even in the Grand Canyon, there's a whole lot of pyramids that was known as Second Egypt. There were 3 different Egypts in America, and some America is just America. But a lot of our culture is actually in America, and they're calling these other places Egypt when Egypt is actually in America. And they still can't figure out how we did these ones. You see that they built theirs a different style than we did. Ours is meant to be like lived in. The top was actually a big, huge house. You see, that's why the stairs go up. They blew the noses off of all the statues. Even the real Sphinx that is in America, the real one, they blew the nose off of that one too. That one is actually in the Grand Canyon, if you want to know where the real one's at. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. So yeah, of course, war, and of course they erase your history. And then, you know, a lot of these places are in some rainforests, some in some parts of some of the woods that's in America. There's plenty of planes that have flew over a lot of this stuff and shown on video. There's a lot of these they call it ruins, but it's not ruined. They still standing today. It's just they're being overrun by the forest or the woods have been taken over it because nobody's been there in such a long time. They literally took you from your homes and brought you to other parts of the United States that was not your home. You see? It's simple. They did not take you all the way from Africa to here. As I'm pretty sure you should now know. That's why you should not call yourself African American. You should not call yourself half these names that they say you are. Because it's a trick.
They do not look like they do right now. Most of them resembled a mound or a hill of dirt that had been massively overgrown by the forest. All of these monuments have been restored. That means that historians and archaeologists and some architects have used their creative license to rebuild these monuments. So what you're seeing is a result of what they think these monuments look like. And that goes for much of the stele as well. When you're seeing these depictions, many of them have been restored by artists. So even the stele that may look really ornate or intricate, many of these stele have been repurposed and restored. Remember Brigitto Lara.
And some of the things they're not telling you about the Jaguar suits. The Jaguar suits were what you call nanotech suits. You put on the outside of you, didn't put it inside your body, didn't, you know what I'm trying to say without saying it? All right. And it was a suit. That's where they got Black Panther from. So there's no such thing as the name Wakanda. But if just they want to use that name, the real Wakanda is actually in America. And of course, that name is not actually the real name. But they found in these so-called mounds, which are pyramids, people in tombs buried with their armor, the nanotech armor. And they have taken this armor from out of these pyramids, from out of the same pyramids that is in America. But yet, and they were taken off of black people. Okay, I'm just using terms they want to use. But yet, so-called, there was no black folks in America, right? They also like to make you think that they found these different things that they show you in museums and way across the sea in that place that they call Egypt, which is not even really Egypt. Instead of telling you the truth that they found it right here in America.
The man who forged over 40,000 Mesoamerican artifacts. Many of these artifacts were whitewashed. He basically remade the face of Veracruz through his art. So when you're seeing some of these depictions, understand what's going on here. Brigitto Lara was faking artifacts, and the archaeologists were dating it in the correct period. They were dated between 200 and 600 AD perfectly. But he just faked it in 1973. What are we talking about? Use your brain, man. Be careful of the more than perfect depictions. So, of course, these people have been accused of whitewashing the early stelae. They've been accused of whitewashing the early lithographs and photographs, and or doing the same thing Napoleon was accused of, like breaking the mouths and the lips and the noses off Mayan artifacts. That's why so many of them don't have lips and noses. Everything else is perfect, but the lip and the nose, it's gone. Now, let's restore it. This is what it would have looked like. You think these guys are going to record these ancient civilizations purely out of intellectual curiosity? But they are funded by whom? Brigitto Lara was such a good forger, he forged his way out of prison. Hey, man, you've got all these stolen antiquities. Nah, man, those are fake. Watch this. Do. Here you go. Holy shit. As many Mayan archaeologists believe, there are thousands more of these monuments and pyramids lost in the Yucatan forest yet to be discovered. When these monuments were discovered, they were overgrown by the forest. So what you're seeing now is a result of restoration. When these monuments were first discovered, many of them resembled the mounds of the Mississippians. So just in case you're wondering what's under those mounds in North America, chances are it's something that resembles one of these pyramid complexes. Quote, page 47, quote, it perhaps destroys.
And of course, many of you know that we were first called the Mississippians, and we did start using the name. And of course, then we started using the Atlanteans and a whole bunch of other different names and different tribal names at one point.
Much of the interest that hangs over these ruins to assign them to a modern day. But if we live in an age whose spirit is to disregard fanaticisms and arrive at truth, and in the interest lost in one particular is applied in another scarcely inferior, for the nearer we can bring the builders of these cities to our own times, the greater is our chance of knowing all. Throughout the country, the converts are rich in manuscripts and documents written by the early fathers, the caciques and Indians, who very soon acquired the knowledge of Spanish and the art of writing. These have never been examined with the slightest reference to this subject, and I cannot help thinking that some precious memorial is now moldering in the library of a neighboring convent, which would determine the history of some of these ruined cities. Moreover,
okay, so now you know that. Let's move
up these two sides until.
Oh yes, he's talking about the collapse.
To choose between one of the two sides. One seems like it's city-based, one seems like it's country-based. You'll see what I'm getting at as we look at this. You look at Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, desire, fertility, prosperity, fast cars, and women, right? That's kind of the city lifestyle.
He's talking about the split that's going to happen. Those who survive will be the ones that will choose a different path and what will not be a city lifestyle. Those are who are going to move on and get out of this place are going to be those are the ones that figure out let's move someplace off the grid and grow our own food. Those are the ones that's actually supposed to survive. And everybody's going to choose what to do. And the ones that stay in the city because they're too comfortable with the lifestyle, they're either going to be, people are going to try to force them to do you know what. If they don't do it, it's going to be, America has got trillions of guillotines just waiting. So you already know what the plan is. You already know what they're going to try to do. It is what it is.
Venus is the Roman equivalent of Venus is a Roman equivalent of Aphrodite, I think it is. Right? This is the Greek one. Now, Venus and Aphrodite are the side of the city. They're the side of sex and fun and money and you know, basically sinful, as the church would call it. That's sinful. Oh, that's wrong. Of course, yeah.
So there's going to be constellations in the sky, and the constellations already are telling the tale. He's figured out the scriptures, and he quoted some of the scriptures that has to do with some of the skies, some of the planets. And as he has watched these planets from some studying this to see how it matched up, he has realized that very soon there's going to be a change where everybody's going to have to pick a side, which I've been telling y'all for a while. Either you're
having met members of their family,
or you're not going to do. So now we're going to get into the soul trap. I've been telling you about the soul trap for a while. I showed you videos on the soul trap. I explained it with some videos. Now we're going to roll some footage about it. This gentleman has done some research about the soul trap, collected a lifetime of research about the soul trap. You call planet Earth, which is now a matrix. The thing you're supposed to be trying to escape from, not come back to. And you're finding, he's going to explain this to you, hopefully better than I have.
Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
For the last 10 years, I have been researching the nature of our reality, who or what controls our society from the shadows, and more importantly, what actually happens when the physical body dies and the soul leaves the body. Do we go to heaven? Do we go to hell? Do we just cease to exist? Is there something that takes care of us? Once you begin to realize what's actually going on and how deep the rabbit hole really goes, you will never see the world in the same way, so buckle up and get ready. This is not going to be easy to swallow for most people. The whole point of this post is not to frighten you, but to present you the conclusions that I've come to in regards to what actually happens when our physical bodies die after
And again, they have turned this particular place in the Matrix into a hell. That's why they keep trying to get you to come back here. It's called the soul trap. Get you to keep coming back to this place you call Earth, which is Planet Key. And every time they do this, you keep coming back here. They convince you, and they give you debts, right? And they're not. It's a trick to get you here. It's not to be achieved. They do stuff like this, and we don't make deals. So realize any debt or contract is a deal. We don't do that. All right, when it comes to outside forces, especially entities that mean it's no good and want to suck off your energy. They do this. They're called archons. All right. They don't want you to go away from the light and leave this place. So that's why I say there's no such thing as the hell, at least the way they depict it. Coming back here is your hell, and it's going to get worse. I would not be coming back here.
Having done what feels like endless research from every angle possible, I have thoroughly investigated near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, astral projection experiences, past life regression hypnosis data, remote viewing data, Gnosticism, ancient texts, and more. I cannot say I know with absolute certainty what happens when we die, but what I do know is that all these different ways and methodologies of researching lead to the same conclusions, and because of that, I believe that Earth is a prison planet and a massive farm used by various parasitic entities who are using us and have been using us as energetic food for what appears to be a very long time. I will share plenty of evidence from different sources and perspectives to make you understand how I connected all these dots and why I came to these conclusions. I promise you that the deeper you research this stuff, the more you will begin to realize that this is extremely real, important, and it's possibly affecting every single one of us. All I'm asking you is to keep an open mind and to analyze the evidence yourself. Reincarnation in the white tunnel of light. You know how anyone who's had a near-death experience talks about having seen a tunnel of light appear in front of them? Or having met members of their family who had passed away? In some rare cases, even having met and spoken to who they thought was God. My research suggests that the tunnel of light which appears when we die is a trap designed to wipe the whole memory of our last incarnation and to recycle our souls into another body, thus keeping us in an infinite loop here on Earth. Because of this, the overwhelming majority of people walking the Earth have total amnesia and don't remember anything about their past existences, nor anything from the periods in between their lives. If you do some research, though, you will notice that there is, however, a small number of people worldwide who are able to recall very specific details regarding who they were, what they did for a living, where they lived in a past life, etc. How do we know these people aren't making up their stories? There's lots of people out there who have been able to bring very solid pieces of evidence to sustain their claims, and those claims can be verified, which shows that reincarnation is a very real phenomenon, confirming what many religions claim to happen to the soul when a person dies. The reason these people's memories have only been partially erased and not fully erased remains unknown for now. The reason people that went through near-death experiences didn't come back with their memories wiped is because, unlike people who have died, they didn't end up going all the way through the tunnel of light to reach its destination. Many near-death experiencers didn't enter the tunnel at all, while some have partially experienced it. All of them managed to return to their bodies and live to tell what they experienced on the other side, hence the term near-death experience. The astral spirit realm, the reptilians and their agenda. The reptilians are found in the literature of multiple ancient cultures across the globe. Jainism and Hindu talk about the Naga, whom they describe as half-human, half-serpent deities. The Aztecs used to worship the Quetzalcoatl, whom they described as the serpent-like god. The Hopi Indians in North America referred to a race of reptoids called the Shetty, translated snake brothers. In Africa, shamans claim to bear extensive esoteric knowledge of a race of reptilian beings called the Chitauri, whom they say control the earth. Chinese, Korean, and Japanese legends.
If you didn't know, the Mayans had war with the Aztecs because they were doing that. Just so you know. All right. A lot of people on the earth at that time served Enki, the reptilian snake king, who is Enlil, Anu, or Anu's sons, but you know, there's many brothers, and they have many different groups, such as the Pleiades and a whole bunch of other groups that they deal with, the Nordics and so forth. They look and can appear to look humanoid. Although they're not us. Of course, we're not human. But that's what they want you to think you are. So the soul trap, like I've explained to you, they try to get you to go into it. And you go into it, as they said, they erase your memory so you don't know what happened. They like to do this during war times. It's the best time to do this, because when the spirit is forced out the body due to a tragic event like war, you are confused. You don't even know what happened, so you're trying to figure out what happened, and that's the best time for them to try to convince you.
Let's talk about a race of reptilian beings called the Kappa. The Gnostics talk about the parasitic entities whom they call archons, who not only use humans as an energetic food source, but they also prevent our souls from leaving the material realm upon the death of our physical bodies. The reptilians are both physical and astral beings. They've been heavily involved in the manipulation of mankind for thousands of years, and are responsible for setting up the soul trap around the planet with the help of extremely advanced technology. This energy grid around the planet serves multiple purposes. One of its main purposes is to project this grandiose tunnel of light in the proximity of people who have just died, in order to lure their souls in.
So also, when the hypernova happens, that energy field that they put around this planet it will go away. It won't be no more. That's also why they're worried. In other words, that's going to be the change being released completely, physically, and not just spiritually, physically, all the way to the point where your weapons inside of you, the weapon yourself, be able to fight back, be able to do what the 144 is supposed to do. So you understand why they are scared now, because now you're about to, that thing will sabotage the thing they set up, which is called form of magic technology, to go ahead and unfortunately make us forget stuff and make us forget who we were, so that they can try to put us in slavery and give us doctrination, witchcraft, okay, religion, all right, ideologies instead of facts.
This is the same tunnel of light that so many people who've had near-death experiences have reported seeing on the other side. The soul may be under the impression that the tunnel is going to take it to the heavens, or perhaps to a higher plane of existence, depending on its level of awareness. In reality, when a soul enters the tunnel, its memory gets wiped and the soul is put into another body here on Earth, reincarnation. The tunnel acts as a bait, and to make a good analogy, imagine a fisherman and his fishing rod. He throws in the bait which hides the hook, and the fish get trapped in it when they bite. We get tricked and trapped by the tunnel of light in a similar way if we aren't aware that it is a trap. In this case, we're the fish. The reptilians are highly intelligent, highly advanced technologically, and they lack empathy, which makes them dangerous. These beings see themselves as gods and humanity as their enslaved cattle. The reason they want to keep us here is because they need to feed off of us energetically. When people go through any kind of suffering, these entities feed off of our lower frequency emotions such as fear, pain, grief, anger, jealousy, rage, anxiety, lust, because they are low vibrational beings that require low vibrational energy in order to survive. Rudolf Steiner, one of the most prolific and gifted scientists, philosophers, and esotericists of his time, explains how the archons feed off of our fear and anxiety. The majority of people living on this planet today have been continuously reincarnating on this planet for thousands of years because we keep falling for the same trap when our physical bodies die. Most of us have no memories of our past existences since our memories get wiped before every reincarnation. So every time we are born on this planet, we think we've just arrived for the first time with a grand purpose or mission to fulfill, given to us by who we think is God. Our consciousness interacts with another dimension. Our physical sensors only show us a three-dimensional universe. What exists in the higher dimensions are entities we cannot touch with our physical sensors. Bernard Carr, professor of mathematics and astronomy who studied under Stephen Hawking and earned his doctorate at Cambridge. When our physical bodies die, or when we have an out-of-body experience, our soul goes into the astral spirit realm, and while we can still observe what's happening on Earth, but we can no longer interact with physical matter. These parasitic entities exist mainly but not exclusively in the astral plane. It's crucial that we become aware of the fact that these entities who are masters of deceit play God in order to trick us into accepting reincarnation and thus having our memories wiped, convincing us that it's in our best interest to do so. How are they able to do that, you may ask? When we're out of our bodies, the laws of physics as we know them no longer have the same effects upon us as we find ourselves in a different realm in which we are able to do things that would be impossible in the physical world. Our souls are pure energy, so in the astral spirit realm, we can change the shape of our astral body, spirit, into anything we want by simply willing it to happen, because unlike in the physical world, we can use our consciousness to manifest a different looking body in an instant when we're in the astral plane, since we are no longer affected by physical laws and limitations. We can also fly around or teleport by simply using our intention to do so. We can even go to higher vibratory realms, where the real good-hearted beings live, if our vibration is high enough. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. If you understand that in the astral, any entity can change the shape of its astral body into anything it wishes to, then you realize that even the most malevolent entity possible can present itself to you in a different form, to trick you into thinking you're speaking to God or to your guardian angel, or even to one of the members of your family who had passed away. They do this because they know you'd put your trust in these religious figures or in the familiar faces, and once they gain that trust, they can easily manipulate you into doing things that are not in your best interests at all. They masquerade as beings of light that emanate a fake sensation of love and peace to make you think they're the good guys who are there to guide you and to give you your next mission to fulfill. This is mentioned even in the Bible, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. Afterlife tricks and scams. If you don't enter the tunnel of light when your time comes, you need to be aware that these entities will present themselves to you in the form of guides, ascended masters, or guardians, and they're going to try to convince you that you need to go back to Earth so you can pay back your karmic debt, or to continue learning, or that you have to go back with a special mission.
Then I'll tell you that karmic debt is given to you by the Archons, the trick to get you to come back here. He even just told you this. This guy researched all this for his life. It's for a good life portion of his life. Lifetime experience of research. He just told you the same thing I told y'all. Archons give you a karmic debt, convince you that you have to come back to Earth because you have a mission. And you don't even be having no mission. You don't have no karmic debt. The Archons just told you that. So you think you got to fulfill a mission that you never accomplished because Archons are not going to let it happen. It wasn't going to happen in the first place. They just simply lied to you. That's why I tell folks don't listen to tarot cards, because Archons speak through tarot cards. They tell you what you want to hear to get you going the wrong route, to get you in a bad predicament, so they can feed off your negative energy when you get to that predicament or have a bad predicament. And if they can't get you that predicament fast enough, they'll make bad things start happening around you to get you feeling that way, so they can't feed off you. They need to eat. They need to feed. This is why they trick you to come here. It's a tricky game, and all these entities, some he mentioned, some he didn't, don't forget, they do hate each other. They do fight amongst each other, but they all still work together against us because they want to eat off us like we're batteries. It is what it is. So the place you've been calling hell is actually Earth this whole time, because they keep tricking you to come back here, give you a false sense of hope. That's why it says even though masquerades as light, it's talking about the Archons and all their buddies who freaking work with them with their technology to make it possible to happen for you to be tricked to come here, trapping yourself here. Lifetime after lifetime, keep getting tricked and coming back here, and they keep wiping your memory so that you keep coming back. So this time, don't go to the light. Turn your back on the light, and when they beg you to freaking go into the light, tell them to fuck off, and you go home. And tell all people about what it's really like down here. Okay? And don't forget, you were warned. Some of our ancestors in the ether told us not to come here. Okay? To some, this is mission impossible. Just being honest. Now that we've taught people, for the teachers, it's time for us to be getting up out of here. Everybody has their appointed time to leave this place. But he just lets you know what these things do. So now that I've said it and showed y'all different ways many times, now you have somebody also not just proving it scientifically, but telling you. And the funny thing is, now it's a white dude telling you. Before I had a black dude explain it on video, right? As far as not showing his face, but you know what I mean. And now this white dude doing the same thing, and I've told you. So now, if the third time you're being told this and proving it, wouldn't this be confirmation?
To fulfill, which is complete bullshit. But we keep falling for these scams because they tend to make sense from our narrow and pre-programmed perspectives. Good luck fulfilling that special mission if you can't remember what the mission was. We put blind trust in what they say to us because of constant religious indoctrination during our lives on Earth, and these beings know that. They can't force us to reincarnate because each soul has free will, but they can pretend to be someone they're not in order to put ideas in our head that it's in our best interest to accept reincarnating back on Earth, making it sound as if they are doing us a favor so that we can evolve, learn, or fix previous mistakes. And what they're basically doing is they're using our own free will against us. The real purpose of continuous reincarnation is soul enslavement disguised as spiritual evolution. A free will decision is impossible without memory and information. Because our memories are being wiped after each lifetime, many of us live under the illusion that we're currently living our first life on this planet and we came here to learn. Learning about life on Earth and experiencing it would be useful if we didn't lose our memories after each lifetime. But it doesn't matter what we learn over here as long as everything gets erased after each reincarnation, and we have to relearn everything from scratch over and over again in an endless loop. Earth is a prison planet camouflaged as a cosmic school. This idea of a cosmic school has been going around in order to trick souls into wanting to come and stay here in order to learn. This whole matrix is designed to drain our energy, wipe our memories over and over again, and keep us trapped. Many people that went through near-death experiences even recall being accompanied by a loving angel who showed them their life review. The reason the entities show us life reviews is so we can relive certain moments from our lives in which we made certain mistakes, and by reliving those moments, feelings of guilt, shame, and remorse are being generated inside of us, making us want to compensate for them. These beings then use these feelings against us, telling us things such as, "You have made these mistakes. You have to go back to fix this and that." Nobody is perfect and we all make mistakes. So their emotional manipulation scam will never end if you buy into it. Because being human, it's impossible to not make what we perceive to be humanly mistakes. This near-death experience, for example, shows how one woman is shown not one, but 2 fake life reviews in order to convince her to go back. New Age believers who promote calling upon your spirit guides, guardian angels, ascended masters, and religious figures for help are actually doing huge damage to themselves and to all of humanity, and they are not even aware of it. You are everything you need to succeed. You are a powerful creator being, and you don't need to give your power away to anybody.
See?
Why is source energy the creator of
Everything I told y'all? He just said that. He just said everything I told you. Everything I told. This is crazy. This is a white dude telling you this now. Everything I ever told you, not everything I told you, but as far as this goes, so far he's basically like repeating everything I said. Think about that.
this universe allowing all this to happen? Each being in this universe, whether malevolent or benevolent, has free will. Ask yourself, why are we humans allowed to enslave the animals here on Earth? Why are we allowed to slaughter more than 3 billion animals on a daily basis? Why are we allowed to keep animals locked up in farms and cages?
Well, we're not human, but we do keep dogs, we do keep cats, we keep pets. Some people own horses, things like that, but we're not ones to be killing animals. Our people anyway, but we know other nations, they have no problem killing animals. That's what they do.
Until the day they die. Why are we allowed to be so cruel to the other forms of life? Why? Because we, just like these entities do, have free will. From our perspective, we do these things because we need something from them, which is energy in the form of physical food. We think we are entitled to do what we do because we are superior to them and because we need to survive. We perceive these things to be normal and part of life. From the perspective of the animals, however, if they were aware of it, we would be their reptilians, since we operate just like them. But we never see ourselves that way. We don't think we're the bad guys because all we do is try to survive. The entities don't see themselves as the bad guys either, since they're also trying to survive. What we do to the animals is almost exactly what these beings do to us, and they need to keep us imprisoned here to feed off of us, just like farmers keep their cattle locked up in farms and stables to get what they need from them. The perspective of Gnosticism and Buddhism. The word Gnostic comes from the term gnosi in Greek, which means knowledge. The Gnostics were a group of people who seek to reveal the truth of the supreme essence of the divine, thus overthrowing false beliefs of society and life in general. They say that humans are divine souls trapped in the physical world, and that the only way one could attain salvation from this place is not through worshiping the demiurge, the false god of religion, but through gaining secret esoteric knowledge about who you really are, where you came from, and about how these parasitic entities operate, which will eventually set you free from this physical world in which your soul is trapped in. In the Gnostic texts, They talk about the parasitic entities whom they call archons, who not only use us as an energetic food source, but they also prevent our souls from leaving the material realm upon the death of our physical bodies. The Gnostic
The Brimstone Bible has the Gnostic text in there, so you should read it. It'll explain some of this stuff too. I told y'all to get that book.
texts describe at length the manipulation of humankind by what they call non-human archons or rulers. The soul trap is also mentioned in the secret book of John, which confirms the information coming from other sources. Buddhism teaches that reincarnation is an endless cycle of suffering, the wheel of samsara, that can only be broken by achieving enlightenment. In other words, we are stuck in a reincarnation cycle where we are bound to continuously suffer one way or another, life after life, until we spiritually wake up and break free from the reincarnation cycle. Evidence #3, the perspective of remote viewing. Remote viewing or extrasensory perception was developed in the 1970s by the CIA and was used for espionage purposes. Remote viewing is the ability of a human being to perceive information and imagery of remote geographical targets, regardless of time and space. While this is a natural ability, it is very hard to do without training. Here is a tutorial that teaches you the basics. People who effectively use remote viewing aren't special. They are simply highly trained individuals, and anyone can learn how to do it. Farsight Institute has some of the best remote viewers on the planet today. Amongst many different projects, they have investigated the afterlife and the reptilians using remote viewing techniques. In a project called the Death Traps, 3 highly trained remote viewers from the Farsight Institute were tasked to remotely view what happens to the soul of a person when the physical body dies. All 3 of them perceived the exact same scenario without communicating with each other, that the soul is confused, disoriented, and ends up entering a tunnel of light which violently shocks the soul. Immediately after that, the soul no longer has the memory of who it was and where it came from. You would have to pay a small amount to watch the full video, but you can just watch the trailer of the full video, which pretty much explains everything you need to know. In another Farsight project called The Escape, they have investigated how Earth has long been used as a prison planet. The remote viewers have been able to psychically perceive the grid that surrounds the Earth, which is being used to zap souls who attempt to go through it. See the trailer for this project here. In many other remote viewing projects made by Farsight Institute, such as Area 51, Oumuamua, Zeus, The War in Heaven, among others, they have often psychically perceived these aggressive, evil-looking reptilian beings with psychopathic minds who always try to control, conquer, and manipulate other beings. The reptilians seem to be always invading, subverting, and manipulating less advanced races, using their technology for control and domination. Brett Stewart, another skilled remote viewer along with his team, they have nothing to do with Farsight Institute, have also investigated the afterlife. Their afterlife project is called Moksha, which means freedom from the reincarnation cycle in Hindu. Him and his team have reached very similar conclusions about the afterlife, which only makes the information coming from Farsight's remote viewers seem even more credible. Brett and the other 3 trained remote viewers have remote viewed their target, Moksha, blindly. None of the remote viewers have communicated before or during the experiment, and only shared their findings and common denominators when all the remote viewing data was already collected. They have found a fence or grid around a place that acts as barrier, that traps people or objects, an object that squeezes tightly around the globe. The souls are being fractionated, rendering them confused and angry. Something is being taken from them. Note: the CIA has declassified numerous documents proving the existence and use of remote viewing. Evidence 4. The perspective of Robert Monroe. Robert Monroe was the father of out-of-body experiences and astral projection. After having had out-of-body experiences for more than 30 years, Monroe discovered that our reality is used to create and harvest what he calls louche energy, negative, low vibrational energy. He claims that this universe has been enslaved for the production of louche energy by the parasitic beings whom he calls archons, who see themselves as rulers and humanity as their enslaved cattle. Monroe believes that the only way to end the ongoing enslavement of sentient beings is to refuse reincarnation. Robert Monroe also claims that another source of loosh is humans' worship of gods. Note: the CIA has declassified numerous documents proving the existence and use of astral projection and out-of-body experiences, this being one of them. Evidence 5. The perspective of David Icke. For the last 30 years, David Icke has been a full-time investigator into who and what is actually controlling our society from the shadows. David Icke believes that the universe is made up of vibrational energy and consists of an infinite number of dimensions. His vast research suggests that an interdimensional race of reptilian beings have hijacked the Earth and continuously manipulate global events in order to keep humans controlled and in constant fear. In this video, David talks about how the reptilians control our society, why the human eye is unable to see them, and how they use us as an energetic food source. David Icke talking about the archons, Gnosticism, and the reptilian agenda. David Icke has written more than 20 books about how our society actually works and who runs it. His books are extremely well researched. One of his books gives detailed information about the way the reptilians operate and how they manipulate us. Children of the Matrix: how an interdimensional race has controlled the planet for thousands of years, and still does. We are born into a world controlled by unseen forces that have plagued and manipulated humanity for thousands of years. Another great book to read is Human Race Get Off Your Knees, in which he describes what he calls the Moon Matrix, a fake reality broadcast from the moon, which is decoded by the human body-mind in much the same way as portrayed in the Matrix movie trilogy. The Moon Matrix has hacked into the human body computer system, he says, and it is feeding us a manipulated sense of self in the world 24/7.
Are there a finite number of souls? Why does the population of humanity continue to increase? Where do the new souls come from to make the extra billions of people that reincarnate?
No, there are billions of souls in the universe. Archons trap as many as they can so they can feed off our energy. You yourself are an extremely powerful creator soul. Yes, you yourself are a god who can create things. But sadly, us and the rest of humanity is trapped within this prison. Evidence #6. The perspective of Wes Penray. Wes Penray is a researcher of metaphysics, the alien presence on Earth, the matrix that we find ourselves in, our human origins, and much more. In this article, Wes explains how the tunnel of light death traps works and how to avoid it. The information is very complex but extremely well researched. Wes has provided massive amounts of information on a wide range of topics: the Illuminati, the shadow government, the moon matrix, the afterlife, entity possession, reptilian manipulation, the reincarnation soul trap, and much, much more. Here is his entire work in PDFs. Evidence 7. The perspective of Val Valerian. Val Valerian is a former CIA agent, real name John Grace, who started writing about the soul reincarnation trap and about Earth being a prison planet in the 1990s. In one of his books he writes, "It is they, gray aliens, who await in the light when a human being dies. The human being is then recycled into another body, and the process begins all over again. Hence the light and tunnel at Death Trap. Scanning someone they wish to recycle as they near death, the aliens discover who the person was close to has died. They project the person's image in the white light tunnel, and the image waves you in deeper. If you choose to follow, you can be trapped and sent to another incarnation of their choice. These entities view Earth as a big farm." Val Valerian. Evidence 8. The perspective of Alex Collier. Alex Collier claims to be in contact with an ET race from the constellation of Andromeda. According to him, the Draconians, reptilians, are the force behind the repression of human populations everywhere in this galaxy. He goes into detail about that in this video. In this clip, Alex Collier gives instructions on how to escape the tunnel of light soul reincarnation trap at death. He claims that if you ignore the tunnel of light and you say to yourself, "I wish to go home," you will return to the dimension you came from before you came to Earth. While I personally don't think that this will work, since you no longer have the memory of your old home, nor the memory of the coordinates of your old home, I guess it's worth a try. But you must always have a plan B in case things don't go as planned. Final words. Waking up to the truth can be unsettling, disturbing, depressing, but also enlightening, awakening and liberating. The truth can be unbearable, but if we are to do something about it, then it must be known. All these pieces of evidence that I've just shown you represent about 10% of everything I've researched on this subject, and I could provide more sources, but this post is already longer than I hoped it would be. This post is, however, a great starting point for anyone who wants to learn about what actually happens when we die, who these entities are, why they need us, and how they trick and scam us when we leave this physical realm. The same information that I presented here is being confirmed by a variety of different sources, which in my opinion is evidence that there's a lot of truth to it. I don't pretend to know the absolute truth, nor am I saying that the information that I've presented you is the absolute truth. The only thing I can say is these are the conclusions that I've reached based on personal research and evidence found. This prison planet stuff is still just a theory, but I see it as a real possibility. If anyone says that he is 100% sure, without a shadow of a doubt about what happens when we die, then that person is a fraud in my opinion. Nobody will be able to get to the 100% absolute truth about this stuff. But what you can do is to research this topic from every angle perspective possible, so that you can put as many puzzle pieces together as you can, which will allow you to have a greater understanding of who we really are, where we came from, and what we're actually on this planet for. So do not stop here. I highly encourage you to do your own research on this subject, and to try to come up with your own conclusions about what awaits us when we die. Perhaps you will come to different conclusions. Most people only rely on what religion and the Bible tells them about the afterlife, and will never do any individual research themselves whatsoever. Religion offers one perspective, not the full picture. You are an infinite, powerful creator being who will never cease to exist, but if your soul is put in a new body with no memory of your previous incarnations, then that's as close to dying on a soul level as you'll get, because you'll be reborn as a completely new person, who has to relearn everything from scratch, a new version of you, who will never know the old version of you, and what you were all about. So good luck in your journey to find the truth about the afterlife.
Well then, I will repost my own reply to that thread here. So look, I've done a lot of ayahuasca. I've met entities that feed off us and confronted them, and they've showed me their true form. We are being used like Capri Suns for being outside of our sensory capabilities. They try to induce intense energetic states that they then feed off of. And it's not just fear, it's excitement, joy, or arousal. Anything that induces an intense emotion is food for them. They can put thoughts in our head that we think are our own. Carlos Castaneda describes the predator mind in The Active Side of Infinity as a being that has overlaid its consciousness with our own in order to induce negative emotions in order to use us as a food source. Other indigenous cultures call is Wetiko. So yes, we're being grubbed on by extra-dimensional beings. That is true. But having met these beings and interacted with them, they've struck me more like mosquitoes than farmers. You don't think a mosquito is malevolent in sucking your blood. That's just how they survive. We're their food. As long as we keep producing the energy they consume as a food source, they're going to continue to flock to and feed off of us. I'm kind of convinced this is one of the reasons Buddhism stresses mastering the monkey mind. No thoughts, no emotions, no food for parasites, and then they fuck off. The thing about the idea of this reality as a prison planet is actually a juvenile understanding of what life is and its purpose. Okay, you've discovered you're trapped in an endless reincarnation cycle. Samara. Just like a teenager sees their parents' unwillingness to let them do whatever they want as a form of fascism, calling our reincarnation cycles a prison belies a not fully formed understanding of what we're here for. A teenager's parents don't let them do whatever they want because they understand a teenager's brain is still forming, and just letting them loose on the world without being fully mature could cause problems for everyone. Drunk driving, fights, pregnancy, whatever. Teens are restricted from full freedom because they're not fully ready to navigate the world in a mature and tempered way. That's the reason we're still here. It's not a prison, it's an incubator. When we learn everything that's possible to learn by existing on this plane, we'll be able to exit the cycle of samsara and explore infinity without causing problems for the other intelligences that exist out there. It's not about keeping us imprisoned here to be used as food. It's about not letting a baby crawl across a freeway. We're here until we decide we don't want to be here anymore, And then there are many well-documented ways you can learn how to do in order to transcend. At the end of the day, just being aware of this means you're on your way to escaping. But not understanding the universe is structured on universal love, and everything is done for our benefit, to help spur on our spiritual development, means you're not ready to leave yet. The astral parasites are just mosquitoes. The soul trap is to help teach you lessons, and sometimes it takes 70,000 years of lifetimes to learn something as basic as don't be jealous. Check out Journey of Souls for more info. On reptilians. Totally believe it's possible. Once I was just about to pop out of my body in an astral projection and some alligator thing pounced on me and pushed me back into my body. The infinite is fucking insane and everything is possible and exists on frequencies outside of our body's perceptual capacities. Anyway, go towards the light. T ... IT doesn't matter. You'll figure shit out when you're supposed to, and you can leave here whenever you're ready to. Also, the whole thing about if we retained our memories of past lives, then that would make reincarnating useful. This whole game is predicated on us forgetting, pretending that we don't know none of this is real. If we all realized none of this is real, we wouldn't play the game anymore, and reality would cease to exist, as we create it via experiencing and participating in it. What fun is Monopoly if someone is like, this is just a dumb game and none of this matters? You need to suspend disbelief and be invested in a game to make it fun.
Start to think about quantum immortality and how you will eventually be floating alone in space for all of eternity in your own simulation because you can't die. Now start to think about black holes, the singularity, and what you will do when you eventually encounter one, what you'll see as you're falling through one. Now start to think about how you will interact with other entities in space when it's finally time for one of you to fall into the black hole. Now consider the fact that you may actually just be computer code. Now consider the halting problem, math proof that you cannot determine if a program is going in an infinite loop. Now consider a Gödel universe, pick related, and that time is a loop, and that if you live forever, a future version of you is probably floating around you somehow. See if you can make a deal with it, if you're sure it's you. Now consider that everyone can read your thoughts. Now consider that every action you're ever going to take has already happened, and its consequences are all around you. Now consider modal collapse.
Don't make no deals with nobody.
Everything exists necessarily, and that everything you can imagine is real, just as all information is contained in pi, even a movie about your life. Now consider that other species of life exist in the universe exists, and once you know about them, they are watching you. Now start to question if the things around you are really what they seem. Now as you think about your possible enemies, know that it's mathematically proven they exist and have already seen your future timeline. Now notice little coincidences around you. Consider that these things can read your thoughts, and now that you have a long timeline, they'll be interested in controlling you.
So the Archons can read your timeline. They can tell us what's happening in your whole entire life, and they can say, give you something that's not even in your timeline, that's not going to happen anyway, will never happen, and trick you to try to pursue it so they can drain more of your energy. See how that works?
Consider that they have technology so advanced, it will seem like magic. Consider they can read your thoughts, see through wall, may want to kill you. Consider that maybe nothing you're seeing is real because you exist in a simulation where an advanced entity is just learning about you, while the real you suffers the consequences of your reaction to predict how you'll respond. Consider these things that may want to control you by blackmailing you. Consider the fact they know what you're going to eat for breakfast in 10 years. Consider the fact that your subconscious actions spread this idea, and once everyone is thinking about this, it's more than likely something is just simulating you to see how the real you will react, and that what's right is wrong. Consider the fact that you can't trust what you're seeing with your own eyes. Consider the fact that your loved ones are not real. Consider the fact nothing is real. Consider the fact you may be being run in a short, continuous loop. Consider the fact your memories are false. Consider the fact you may not be a real person.
Just like any prison, Earth had wardens, visiting hours, conjugal visits, prison uniforms, bodies, walls, Van Allen radiation belt, watchtowers, the moon, certain mountain ranges, drop-off zones, Point Nemo, etc. We also come from different parts of the universe, which is why some people feel kinship towards certain AIs and fear of others, and why visitations aren't consistent among experiences. The great escape will be by spiritual means. Our bodies will not be going, not without space marine levels of modification. We're just not made for space travel. This is why there is such an emphasis on teaching people about the spontaneous formation of life on Earth. If we stop believing that we're spiritual in nature, we will never leave Earth.
The reason people hide the truth is because once the truth and the reality and implications of it set in, you will realize you've realized something that you can't know and are now in more danger because you know. You will suddenly realize clues about this truth are scattered everywhere, and everything will start to click, that everything has to do with this one central idea. You will begin to learn information that will warrant you being assassinated by forces whose technology will seem like magic. You will realize that now that you know this knowledge, anyone you tell this about will get sucked into this problem and will be in danger as well. As the idea really starts to sink in, you will become more and more paranoid, dangerous, and aggressive. Eventually, at some point, you will come to an absolute conclusion that will be too much for you to bear.
So what he's talking about is the simple fact that the Soul Trap and the Archons make karmic debts for you. They have seen your timeline, all your life timelines. They know everything you're going to do in the whole 9 yards. And they know whatever karmic debt they give you is not possible. Plus, we don't make deals with outside sources, Archons, our demons, they're friends with reptilians, and all the other bad guys that are against us. They trick you here to come back to Earth so they can suck the energy off of you and then trick you into a contract, although we're not supposed to make any deals. And they turn around and make you think that you have a karmic debt when you have none. Karmic debts are given by Archons, demons. You're not even supposed to revoke them and not deal with them. Also, you found out scientifically, like I've been saying and a couple of you said, that when you think you're talking to your ancestors or they're talking to you or all that speak to you and all that stuff, the whole 9 yards, you're not even talking to them. You're talking to Archons pretending to be your ancestors. They do everything they can to get you going the wrong way. You were not supposed to look from any outside source. No crystals, no tarot cards, no nothing. Everything you have is in you. You don't need nothing but you. Okay? As far as when it comes to your spiritualness and learning and growing. Okay? This is just the facts. They told you the same thing that I told you and a couple other folks have told you. Now you hear it from a white guy. When other times there's some black people, as they like to say. And people most likely don't want to listen. In fact, I'm noticing right now there's 9, it was 11. Most times it's under that. Why? Because most times people hear some of the stuff that we talk about on here. It's too hard to believe. It sounds crazy. But when you get down to the cold hard facts, like I told you, deep understanding, high and deep-minded, look at all the facts. And you will see the evidence totally broke down to you in the simplest form so that you can understand it. This is why I started teaching this way, help you guys understand. And he's letting you know that when you finally fully realize that you don't have to come back here, this is when they start realizing they need to try to get rid of you. And anybody I've told anything about this stuff, yeah, you become, as far as they're concerned, part of the problem, because now if you research it, then you found out for yourself, and now you know. And then you realize exactly who you are, what you are. And you realize that you got tricked into coming here. And now people in the outer realms, that they like to call space, told us not to come here. This is why they called it Devil's Playground. They told you that you were supposed to learn this at school. It was a trick. You see that? It was a way for them to suck energy off you. So now, only way to beat these guys fully and to wipe them out is to escape this matrix. Go back home. Don't go into the light. Don't listen to anything they got to say. I don't care who they peddle like anything. Go home. Once you get home, you don't have a body like this. You have a regular spiritual body. where you can pretty much do anything that you'll have every single 999 powers. You have them all. You can eradicate these things that's feeding off of our people, and then we can make a world like we want to, like we've done before, in our own image, without making people, because we ain't making people. We regretted making the Anunnaki, at least a certain fashion of them. That's why the Bible says the Most High, although y'all don't understand, the Most High is nothing but an energy wave, an energy of frequency that we're all part of, which is called the ether, also a portal, other things like that. Okay, everything's energy, all right? Even an atom is energy, okay? So, you'll find out, just because you understand these sort of things that I'm talking about. And I don't want to go too deep, so I'm gonna stop where I was going. You are in danger. Don't worry about it. Keep learning. You're supposed to learn, and you realize this was a trick, but you learned in spite of these people trying to stop you from learning the cold hard facts, the stuff that will free you in your mind. You came back here and learned the same stuff over and over again. Many and some of the people got stuck. Some of this time you may have went further to the point that you're ready to go, because you know now. You know what's really going on. They use all this religion to control you, to make you feel bad, and playing your empathy and everything else, to make you come back here, to make you believe that you need something or someone, an outside source, to go where you're going. And all you need is you. We're a collective. Please tell me, when did God ever need help? Because when you pray and ask outside sources, you're asking for help. When you do feast days, you're asking help. When you do any, it's okay to have a rest day because you want to rest. But to actually do the rest day that they tell you about, I think they call it Sabbath. They call it the Sabbath. It's still asking for help. You should not be asking or humbling yourself down and ask for anything to any outside entity. You is all that you need. It's nice to have a partner, because that would help big time. But you are all you need.
You will go insane, have a brain aneurysm, or will be killed by something or someone. The truth.
So we're going to skip that part. The fact is, they won't want you around. I know many have told me that. You told me that, oh, you're taking risks with your life. I'm not worried about it, man. I'm not worried about it at all. I came and I took on the quest to teach those who want to help themselves. And that's what I'm doing. When I leave, I'm not coming back. I have no reason to come back anymore after this. I've seen nothing but vanity, deceit, and lies in this world, just to have to come to the truth and the cold hard facts, to see the deceit and the lies. It's even now to where people are not trustworthy to a certain extent. We have our enemies all around us, of every kind, lower one to the highest, to a certain extent. And soon their most highest is supposed to be coming down in a spaceship you're going to call chariots, and people are going to serve him and not realize he's a shape-shifting entity. This is facts.
This is going to reshape our planet here.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, again, I do need to split some hairs here. Electromagnetism, gravity, and magnetics are all separate yet connected. And will there be gravitational effects because of planetary bodies lining up? That's an unknown. Some people say yes, some people say no. Will there interlooping on toroid fields of magnetic transference or possibility or potentiality occur? Again, some people say yes, some people say no. But until the events happen, we just don't know. But I guarantee we're going to learn a lot about science during this time on interlooping magnetic field currents and how those are affected by the sun and all of our planets and the interplay between those fields. We're going to learn more about this in the next 6 months than we probably have in the last 500 to 800 years in the next 6 months. So these weather fronts are getting incredible. like every time you look now, when you see these come in, people are going, oh, it's like it was predicted. You see these big fronts coming in, people run for their lives, literally, and the hailstones coming down are getting larger and larger and larger. They said a world record hailstone was like 4 pounds and something over in India. And that was
So these entities, like I said, they start making their own type of rocks, because the ones that have metal, and all real rocks in space that you call asteroids has metal in them. This would mean an entity would have to make rocks with no metal in them for them to hit the earth. And this is happening now. This double is going to, it's not the first time they've done this, but he's going to fulfill his double as prophecy. And many people are going to serve this double, not realizing the double's doing it, not the Most High. We are collectively the Most High. We want to get down to it. Now they got their Most High, which is their top daddy, the double, and of course the children came straight from his privates. So, like they said, seemed like a lot of the stuff they doing is almost like magic, right? And now you have these fronts, and they did say that this winter is going to be a pole shift winter. Why? They're trying to stop the pole shift. They're trying to stop the pole shift from going the right direction, because it already is. But they are also worried that this other planet is going to fly through and pull a hold on it to make it completely keep going the right way it's supposed to go. And Nibiru will lose the pull on the planet. That's why they're bringing this spaceship closer. Nibiru is a spaceship, has a magnetic pull. And since they see what's happening, that they may not win this gravitational tug of war, because they won't, they decided to go ahead and make asteroids, their own rocks, and throw it at the planet. That's why it says in some books, it's almost like something is controlling this planet, moving their planet. It does not move in a normal fashion. It goes where it wants to go. It's talking about Nibiru, the planet-like spaceship. It is a spaceship. Planet Y is their planet where they came from, which is destroyed. It's a wandering star. I already think the last couple of videos I explained about the habitable zone in full detail. I started explaining to somebody today. I didn't get to finish explaining it to them fully. I should have went deeper, but you know me. Sometimes I'll be talking, I'll be all over the place, so I got to stay focused, especially with teaching. So let's keep going.
the biggie. So these things are starting to uptick. We'll go next slide. This is event number 1, what we're looking at here. All right, so on the left side, this is October 24th.
Let's not forget about Florida and its hurricane. Indiana, if I'm correct, if I'm not correct, put it down in the comments in case you're watching, brother. It's feeling the effects, which is crazy. They're so far away from Florida, but they're feeling the effects of that hurricane that happened in Florida. Hey, listen, and they've been evacuating Florida like crazy. They may not be no Florida after this hurricane gets done with it. There's been hurricanes that were way less stronger that devastated Florida to a certain extent. Now you're talking about it's almost like a motherlode hurricane, and they're gonna get worse. All this stuff is unraveling. The matrix is breaking down. Eventually, you're gonna see these people and these entities and things for who they are and what they are. Some people morph right in front of you.
Between 19th and 24th of just in a couple months. On the right side there's 79 AD, and what you see is the 4 gas giants squared up. And this is about the most exact square that I can find going back through the orbital diagrams in the software and using different softwares from Solar System Scope is the one you're seeing here. You can use JPL, Universal Sandbox. But the Earth is coming through on the sandwich between those 4 gas giants, and here's the splitting of a hair. Some say that interlooping of that and the Earth going through the magnetic field from the sun and the magnetic field created by those 4 in this squaring pattern will have no effect or will have some effect. And again, I'm not really choosing sides on the gravity thing. I am saying absolutely the potential for the human mind to unlock in a different magnetic field and perceive reality different is the thing that is most possible during this, and higher tides too. And again, higher tides would have a very disruptive effect globally. If they come in, there's more velocity, the water's heavier, it's going to rip things to shreds if it were to. More earthquakes, perhaps. But the human resonance field, perception difference, this is my main number one thing. It seems like the world is rushing, and they don't care how sloppy they are. They need to hit this milestone and get something done before this point the world awakens, right? So this is coming up in just a couple months. So keep your eyes on this one. A lot of different things should be occurring during this time. You're going to watch a lot of governments respond to this. It's not about the events happening and the government's playing catch up like, oh, there was an earthquake and, a bridge ripped apart from the Mississippi. Let's go repair it. They're going to already have excuses to why it's happening to prevent you from panicking. And and then they'll have to put more control. Or now there needs to be rationing because we got a bridge broke. Every time one of the events happens, there's going to be more control like a constrictor. Next one, please. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to be on that magnetic field squeeze between the regular sun and then this alignment that only happens once every 2,000 years, this squaring. Now, there's different variations of it.
That right there, see that? The hypernova. When it happens, it'll be a straight alignment. It happens once in some crazy long years, they say. Although they took a month off of every year and a day off every week. But anyways, I digress because I can keep going. But the hypernova is what everybody's going to see. And this great event is going to fully awaken the people on this planet, our people, and we will understand and know everything from the first light up to this one. This is going to happen in our time. And this is what they're rushing to do, all this stuff to try to put the Python squeeze on you, to try to tell you need to do this, need to do that. Oh, mandatory this, mandatory that. You understand now? It's to stop what's going to happen. Stop what's going to happen to you so that you don't do what you are already supposed to do. You understand? You heard that song, I had to switch up on you. I see you was playing with the war. That's what's going on, people. These guys are playing with the war to try to stop the war. They are tired of the forever war. That's why they made the movie Forever War. All right, they keep telling you and throwing stuff in your face. It's up to you to catch it. The reason they do it because they got to tell you, and also they want to see how much further can they go before you wake up. How much more devious can they try to end you and get rid of you and keep recycling you and this planet before you wake up? Understand.
It comes off like a rectangle sometimes. If they come into a line like it did in 1999, that's not the same. This is a square of those. So all those looping fields in on themselves, will it create something larger? That's the thing we will find out from science during this time. And would it have an effect as the Earth passes through two magnetic fields? Because normally we only have one. Now Jupiter and Saturn, they have their own magnetic fields, but what if those start to interplay on each other? Bank of America said, what if they glow brighter? And then we start to get back into the myths and legends. What if these two, Zeus and what if they start to glow brighter in the heavens where you can see luminosity wise that, wow, it's much brighter up there. How are they going to respond to that on Earth and keep people calm when two planets start glowing brighter just magically in October? This is something to contend with as well, the perception management. Okay, and that'll be in the middle of October here to the end of October. So that's event number one. And if we could can you go to next? Okay. Again, it's about this resonance. Now, this thing usually moves in the PowerPoint, but it's cymatics. So when you put a different frequency or vibration in something, it changes the shape of it. It changes the actual structure of it. So if there were to be some change electromagnetically because of where the planets sit in this geometry not seen in thousands of years, the way that, again, either our Earth behaves or the human behaves will be greatly affected during this time. Would you be even able to perceive that because you're inside the new magnetic field, so would you even perceive that there was a change versus being an outside looker on the way in because you're going to be encapsulated in this field as it changes? So will you even notice that it changed? That's another question. There's a lot of, things that are unknowns at this point. Can we go to the next one? And now this is another big thing. And you can't tell me with a straight face 2 weeks ago, they started to put out all these news articles that now we have an electric field from 100 miles up all the way to the ground that has this electric frequency in it all the way around the whole planet that somehow they just discovered last 2 weeks ago? They've been talking about this for thousands of years. They talked about the ether. Tesla was tapping into this thing for wireless electricity in the 1880s. And suddenly just this last 2 weeks, they found it. They quote unquote discovered it. And the amount of news headlines on this thing, if you're into the science news, it was like the #1 news headline. They verified that there's a millivolt charge and actually voltage charge difference between the ionosphere and our ground. That you could maybe tap that and create electricity and atmospheric harvest it. And then people are now suddenly, well, you know what? Not enough minerals. Let's just go ahead and use this new system. This is way better than building solar panels. Are you kidding me? All right, what's the next one there then?
I've got just to pull up here. This is
please do. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, right there. That was off the NASA feed.
Yeah, so NASA discovers long-sought global electric field on Earth, right? They're saying that a rocket team reports the first successful detection of Earth's ambipolar electric field, a weak planet-wide electric field as fundamental as Earth's gravity and magnetic fields. Quick question, right? With this, you mentioned a lot about perception management. Do you think that they're coming out and talking about this because they realize that more and more people are becoming aware of it and they have to be able to be in front of it? Because if ordinary citizens like Ashton Forbes, for instance, who's been researching the MH370 and alternative electricity, that it's like that the average person is now talking about this stuff and talking about ether and electroculture, and that they're now trying to get out in front of it. And then they're going to have to maybe unveil it in a way they can control and they can, kind of manipulate.
Yeah, but the same thing as I was saying in the beginning with global warming, the reason they gave you an excuse that the weather was going to change when you saw it, that you wouldn't panic. The same thing with the green agenda where they were saying windmills, solar panels, electric cars. Okay, they knew it right from the beginning there wouldn't be enough copper in the world to do. They have to mine more copper in the next 30 years than they did in the last 2,000 years to make this green transition work. So that's simple math. 30 years or 2,000 years, that's a big difference. But imagine moving over into this atmospheric harvesting. Oh, we just hopscotch that. And then suddenly they have anti-gravitics. We don't need the roads any longer. They have all of these, perpetual energy devices that are spinning. And I bet a lot of them will be based on using magnets and opposite rotational disks that'll provide you with electricity forever. But I guarantee they're not going to give it to you for free. It'll be another meter-based system or something. They'll try to say you have to pay for the Earth's magnetic field somehow, or you have to rent the device or something like this. It's very strange that all of this planetary magnetic field change talk is around the circles as well, coming out into the mainstream. And suddenly in the same weeks leading up to that October event, suddenly they find that the Earth's magnetic field, did you see what the most important thing is? It's as important as gravity. Now, for me, gravity is a big, very important part of keeping your feet on the ground. So if they're saying the atmospheric charge is just as important as gravity, well, then I think our scientists are not really scientists. They're quacks and shills. If they couldn't figure that out already, come on.
Exactly. So that helps explain this then what you're talking about. That they're saying,
it's called the global electric circuit. And I forgot to label that. Global electric. Eugene Bagashov is the expert on that.
I see. Okay. So I'll let you continue with the presentation.
Oh, please. And it's only a few more slides. So then it's kind of, these next ones are very easy to understand. All right. So this square is significant that it only occurs every several thousand years. And then, if you start to plug those planets in on the Kabbalah there, then, you start to have something. For me, it's the beginning of the cycle. Not every planet plugs in cleanly. So if you roll around over the next, multiple years, decades, whatever, you can find the completion point where that would plug in the bottom and then finish that cycle.
Okay, my people, here we go. September 9th, 2024. On this Gregorian calendar, I'm recording this video at 7:35 p.m. 7:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is early in the sunrise, and I want to thank David Dubine at Adapt 2030 for putting that video together. Y'all can watch the full video. You can just go onto his page. But anyway, what he's talking about in the magnetic field lines, the Earth has trillions of magnetic field lines. And on these magnetic field lines, all natural, all animals, everything all natural life on the planet uses these magnetic field lines. These magnetic field lines allow birds, certain animals to do certain extraordinary things that we would consider like fly. Also be able to determine where they are at, how far they should be traveling, where they should be traveling at. This is with these magnetic field lines, and you cannot see these lines. So look at your body with the 7 chakras, right? Look at those chakras as USB outlets. You understand? And these magnetic field lines plug into those chakras that are inside of your that are present within your anatomy. So those chakras look like holes, you know what I'm saying? And they should be spiraling counterclockwise. And these magnetic field lines plug into those what you would call chakras. Now you plug into that, you connect to it, and it connects to you. And this gives you what you call supernatural ability. This gives you the ability to fly, levitate, give you the ability to teleport, give you the ability to move just as fast as what you would call the speed of light. And they know this. They already understand this. And if you look at these magnetic field lines, you can see that they are breaking off. Some are breaking off, and then they're repairing back together because Earth is being pulled in the middle of 4 gas giants. And when these gas giants that we are being pulled in the middle of the 4 is going to create new magnetic field lines. You see how these lines that are trying to connect across and they're breaking off, they're breaking apart. Well, these is trillions of magnetic field lines on Earth. And what's happening is all the gas giants that we are connecting with, including the sun, we are all going to be one connected universal family. And this is what they are afraid of, because once this starts to take place, that dormant, what you call that dormant junk DNA, that DNA starts to become online. But before that comes online, you have to get rid of fear, self-doubt, self-hate. You have to do that. And self-hate has nothing to do just with yourself. It's how you view other people and other life forms that are natural to the solar system that are so happen to be living in this realm right here. So now, as I move off of this, we go up here to this, the Magnetos Pulse. September the 10th, 2024 in this Gregorian calendar, Magnetos Pulse monitors the dome, the interaction between the sun, the dome, or earth shields that protect us from whole so-called harmful or solar gamma radiation, ultraviolet light, whatever you want to call it, as well as Earth. So you have Earth that's sitting in the middle, the daytime over here, which means the sun is over here. This is the magnetic field, the dome that stretches from there to there. The sun is on the other side of that, and this is the nighttime side of the planet. And these right here, which you would consider satellites, goals 16 and goals 18, this is the orbital track. And they literally, these 2 satellites are only created or designed to pick up solar radiation. That's it. So if you look at the front of the planet, which would you say the sun is over here, excuse my writing, look at the energy, the double pack impact energy that is constantly hitting the dome, that is constantly hitting the dome, peeling back the onion. And then look at the nighttime side of the planet. There is no protection over here, none whatsoever. There is no dome. There is nothing that can guard you from solar radiation. UVA, UVB has increased exponentially, and now UVC radiation has been on the ground for the last 5 to 6 years, and and
that's helping unlock some of your abilities, by the way.
Increase exponentially, and UVC radiation is a detoxifier, a germ killer, a mutating wavelength. Shout out to Adopt 2030. You must have the blood of the sun.
There you go. Hold on. Let's do this real quick. That's right, y'all. We still got more. Like I said, it's gonna be long. And how many hours been on? We've been on for almost 3 hours, and we ain't done yet. All right, now we're getting down to the nuclear emergency. I told y'all I was gonna bring y'all the news too. We're gonna get back some teaching, and we'll get some news and teaching. You know how I do. All right, I got to bring y'all.
Also, Tigers Nazareth.
Let me see anything. Okay. He's actually not even gonna play the video. He should though. So, so nuclear hits. I told you about this. Russia, ballistic nuke missile hit Russia. It came from Ukraine. Who gave them that weapon? United States. Who did Russia try to fire at? with their Satan II missiles. Think about it. People, you have no idea. If he would have landed one of those over here in all those other countries, he would have never stopped firing them. And these are missiles that the United States just itself has no defense against. Every missile will land where they're supposed to and will hit and destroy everything they're supposed to. Fall in 1 hour. Okay? Now, this is not something that we are making happen. This is a plan given to these guys, because you know who controls everything, the Black and Moors. I mean, Black and Moors listen to different entities. Yeah, so see, okay. See, y'all did feel it. That's crazy. Okay. Good luck. Keep it up. All right. Hold on. Oh, I don't know why that's doing that. All right, so now, right? So I don't lose my spot over here. What I'm supposed to be doing. All right, here I go, y'all. All right, so they was gonna fire these nukes at United States and other places. Man, y'all know how lucky we got. This was a warning. He was letting everybody know what happened. All right, I'm just trying to speed up. We got more videos. Again, I do want to. Oh, don't play at me. Now this thing wants to act stupid. See that? They didn't want to show. Oh, and then they went past it. All right. All right, pause. So remember I told y'all. Let me do this. Okay, I guess that's how I go. Gotta have it. Remember I told y'all about this. You know what? Elon Musk, more control. When right before this stuff happens, they're gonna try to get more control. They're gonna try to force this, the last piece on you, pour some of the black goo inside your brain and put the chip on your head. This the next thing they're gonna try to force y'all. This has happened over again. This is a mummified person. I know stuff I be saying sound crazy, but when you see the evidence, then you can't say that I'm crazy. Now you have to own up to the evidence and start questioning everything that you know. Y'all in the cities, get out the cities. It's a death trap. Hold on. What the hell? Don't play me. These guys are playing games. Play the damn video. All right, y'all, hold on. They playing games, y'all. Hold on. Who's got? Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Why are you playing this game? Pause that. Let's see what we're gonna do. All right.
I'm at a point in my life like
what the hell? Whoa. All right, go back on. Why are they playing these games in my? So they obviously don't want y'all to see that. This is so crazy. YouTube, y'all too funny.
Oswald targets Nazareth
Okay.
in this map.
Let's go ahead and hopefully. If they don't show it, y'all know why. They don't want y'all to see that. YouTube, that is not violent content, just so you know. They're gonna try to use that. We can see some. Come on. All right, so obviously, y'all, they're not trying to let y'all see that. That's some
Answer strike.
Yeah. That's some bull crap. Okay.
In the ionosphere to allow this control to take place.
So they have a weapon on this place you call Earth. And on this place you call Earth, what they're doing is using this weapon. The Seminole is nowhere in the sea, and they control the weapon, control the weather with this weapon. Okay, it works with HAARP, and to cause so-called natural disasters. They own one today, y'all. They really just did that. All right, let's go.
Ionosphere to allow this control to take place. Ionospheric heaters use this D layer in the ionosphere. Notice it only forms in the daytime when the sun is up. At nighttime, it disappears completely, and the ionosphere is 170 miles up, and the ionospheric heaters cannot control the jet stream with that being so high up. But in the daytime, it's only 30 miles up. So here's a look at the hardware that's actually working out in the Pacific to destroy hurricanes and push warm air into the Arctic. This is the SBX-1 main transmitter unit, and off on the left here, you can see it's not a little doll or Barbie figure. It's a grown man. This is a really huge, terrible piece of hardware. That giant flat plate array transmitter is placed inside of a fabric radome. And this is a picture during assembly inside the radome. Each one of these little wedges is a transmit-receive module, which transmits about 200 watts. So there are 45,000 transmit-receive modules, and this antenna can detect an object the size of a baseball at a range of 2,500 miles. That is why I say this thing can project all that power into a pinpoint beam, totally computer controlled. The dome is 120-foot diameter. The power source is 6 3.6 megawatt generators for a total of almost 22 megawatts. And this hardware platform has a tow ship to move it around. So that 22 megawatts is not actually designed to go into the engines. That is designed to go into the transmitter unit. Other U.S. Navy ships have powerful microwave transmitters. This is the U.S. Navy ship Howard O. Lorenzen. It looks small, but it's actually 534 feet long. Each phased array, the boxes on the top of the deck, is a phased array transmitter. Synthetic aperture radar, whatever you want to call it, weighs 250 tons. And there's a crew of 88 on board. This is a gigantic ionospheric heater, again, in a different format.
So you understand why these beings need for us to stay dumbed down. They need for us to stay on the ground. All right? Because in our right minds, we have already created our technology and our ships, and we would have took flight. And we would have literally began destroying them all. All right. It is our duty as the Atlanteans, we who are the Anunnaki. Anunnaki means warrior of Kai, a warrior of Ki, and Anunnaki. Anunnaki is warriors of Kai. It is our duty to protect this planet and to protect this realm. All right. This is why they need us to be running after money, running after shoes, clothes, job positions, paying bills, worrying about debt, going about the education system so that they can control the planet. They're using this type of technology that they created to control the planet. And we're worrying about who's going to be president or who's more and who's not. It is our duty to protect this planet. So like I say, this is why they didn't want us to have knowledge of our technology. They didn't want us to have knowledge of who we are, because they know that we would take flight. We would go into the air and we would destroy everything that they created, which is what we are supposed to do. All right. Remember, your enemy will always provide some type of placebo for you. knowing that we're awakening. Now that we're awakening, we see what's really going on, and we need to get ready to build. We need to prepare. When they came here, we had surface-to-air missiles. We had all types of laser technology. We had photon missiles. We had plasma missiles. We had all of this at our disposal. And this is something that relates to an Atlantean vessel. All right. And we had a lot of this different type of technology created all over this realm. And after the fall from the tackling of the Moors and the Mongolians, and later on the whites, because they wanted to conquer this planet, they destroyed a lot of our technology. They'll use some of it for what's called reverse engineering. But we would have already taken flights, and we would have already went to the air, and we would have already destroyed the system. All right, you understand the importance, brothers and sisters. This is why they need us to remain in this sleep state. Like I said, paying bills, worrying about paying mortgages, working these jobs, and these jobs are really owned by Moors and their children. Seriously, need us to focus on paying taxes, getting clothes, getting shoes, all kind of garbage. This is where they need us to be, so that we won't protect the planet from their devices. All right. We all know what flight is all about. I remember my first time flying, I wasn't even scared. It's like something I remember from a distant past. And brothers and sisters, we've got to return to power. And a vessel like this, nobody's going to give it to us. We're not going to go into meditation and think it up and it's just going to appear. We got to build it. And it won't take us long once we put our minds together. That's why so many brothers and sisters are being affected by this system. Been put in jail, been killed. They don't want us to return to power because they know that we will literally destroy everything and anything about them. Brothers and sisters, we got a battle on our hands. We told you. They messing with the planet. They mess with us. All right? We're all connected to the planet. All right? I'll holler at y'all in a minute.
Attention, eyes on me. Did I mention I like the attention?
The Lineal Championship.
It's a straight right hand up the pipe. Oh, huge right hand. Down goes Trinidad.
An unofficial title which attempts to clarify the modern gluttony of sanctioning bodies and alphabet titles. Commonly described as the man who beat the man.
15 rounds for the middleweight championship of the world.
The lineal title stays with the champion until he's defeated, retires, or vacates.
Graziano just up at the count of 8. He is a very wobbly young man. And Graziano is thrown on the canvas.
If the title has been vacated, a new lineage begins when a new undisputed champion is crowned.
In my time, to win the championship, you had to knock a man out. Today, they win it on points, 10 or 15 rounds.
It begins with Jack Dempsey, only not the one you're thinking. Same name, different guy. He reigned for 7 years before Bob Fitzsimmons.
At this point, the all-nitrate film starts to disintegrate, but a somewhat viewable version of the 14th round knockout was assembled from potato chip-like fragments. Watch Fitzsimmons on the right step on the Corbett's left jab and land his own hard left to the champion's midsection.
Fitzsimmons fought Dempsey and knocked him out in the 13th round. He'd reigned for 4 years until he moved up to heavyweight and vacated the title.
I've often been asked, what's the difference between now and then? The difference is, in my time, you had to knock a man out to win the championship.
Tommy Ryan held the title for 8 years before he too vacated. Stanley Ketchel was next.
1909, world middleweight champion Stanley Ketchel defends his title against the #1 contender, former world middleweight champion Billy Papke.
Ketchel and Papke here would fight 3 times. The title went from Ketchel to Papke, then back to Ketchel. Ketchel is perhaps most remembered for his heavyweight fight against Jack Johnson.
As Ketchel moves in to finish the job, Johnson will land a foot-swing right hand to the jaw, knocking Ketchel cold. Johnson trips over.
Ketchel's reign ended when he was gunned down in his home at age 24. Frank Klaus's reign was short, lasting just a year. George Chip defeated Klaus, then lasted just a year before running into Al McCoy. McCoy lost to O'Dowd. O'Dowd turned around and lost to Johnny Wilson. Wilson lost to Harry Grebe. Grebe lost to Tiger Flowers. Tiger Flowers was the first black middleweight champion.
His humble personality and clean style of fighting made him a fan favorite despite the color barrier.
Which brings us to Mickey Walker.
He has great boxing ability, the punching strength of a heavyweight, the speed of a lightweight. That combination makes him one of the most formidable fighters of all time. And Mickey Walker, the toy bulldog, closes in with lefts and rights. Walker likes to move in close, soften up his man on the inside, then move away and throw barrages.
Boom, perfect timing.
Known as a powerhouse in his day.
And it's all over. Another amazing victory for Mickey Walker.
He stayed on top for 5 years before vacating the title to move up to heavyweight. Tony Zale is most remembered for his trilogy with Rocky Graziano.
First fight, Graziano's down in the first round. Zale is down in the second.
Zale beat Graziano, then lost to Graziano. However, Graziano quickly met Zale again.
Graziano just up at the count of 8. He is a very wobbly young man. Zale coming after him again. And Graziano is thrown on the canvas.
Zale finished the Rocky Graziano trilogy in style.
Marcel is seen here arriving in the United States for the official signing with middleweight champion Tony Zale.
He said, Tony, that he thanks you very, very kindly for giving him this opportunity to fight for your title.
It wasn't long before Zale took on Marcel Cerdan.
For the middleweight championship of the world.
I think Zale's sense of self. Oh, it's got him with a lovely left hook there. Zale on his knees in round 11.
Cerdan dropped Zale and captured the title. Check out a few other KOs from Cerdan. This is where Jake LaMotta enters the picture, better known as the Raging Bull.
June 16th, 1949. Middleweight champion Marcel Cerdan of France defends his title against New York's Jake LaMotta. Here in round 5, Jake LaMotta in dark trunks with a white waistband is the #1 challenger in the division. He is 5 feet 8. From start to finish, this was a rousing battle as LaMotta and Cerdan stayed toe-to-toe. Jake LaMotta is the new middleweight champion.
The all-electric, all-quiet Subaru Solterra. Dog tested, dog approved.
Trains. Trains that sense what isn't on.
LaMotta will hold the title for 2
in the ionosphere.
No. Okay, so the awakening, damn it, got hot. Whew. has caused a change. And it has. Excuse me, y'all. 1 second. Oh, yes. Awakening has caused a change. Everything is changing. The atmosphere is changing. Your DEA, not DNA, because we don't have that. It's changing.
There's an awakening that has taken place, and this awakening among the original beings has literally caused a domino effect in our realm. It has caused gateways to open which were not regularly opened. All right. Our awakening has literally changed the reality in this realm. This is why they said, do not awaken the sleeping giants. Why? Because our awakening changes the reality in this realm. Right? And for so long, while we were in our sleep state, the reality that these Moors and their white counterparts created were designed to try to cause us to make this false reality that they created a permanent reality. All right. So they needed us to believe the lie, believe the illusion, believe that the pain was real, believe that we were actually poor. They needed us to believe that in order for their reality to be dominant. This is what it's all about, brothers. They want their reality to be dominant. So they needed us to be in a sleep state. Money, religion, all forms of religion. All right? All forms of religion. You can say that you're part of the Moorish society, but the Moors are no different than the Nation of Islam. The Christians are no different than the Hebrew Israelites. They're all the same religion. They're all about worshiping someone instead of worshiping self. And when we began to learn how to worship ourselves, I glorify myself, I honor, I give myself the glory and praise. I praise myself. I worship this body, for this body belongs to me, and I belong to my body. You know, this is the thing. When we began to learn how to worship ourselves, we begin to change the reality in this realm. See, we're the giants. Everyone said don't awaken the sleeping giants. We were thinking about those rock formations where these giant beings from some other age had fallen and, had petrified. We thought those giants want to wake up. No. They were talking about us. The reason why they call us giants, because our energy is so fucking big. It's just as powerful as dealing with a giant. So don't awaken the sleeping giants, because the sleeping giants want to dominate everything. So our awakening has literally caused a ripple effect. Gateways are opening up everywhere. And I must also say CERN is playing a role, because they're playing around with CERN, and the energy from CERN, which literally belongs to us, help us come to a greater awakening. See, when they open up CERN, they literally are helping us when they open up CERN. All right. So all that energy.
Although they are using it for evil, but they're not realizing this black goo, the so-called God gene, the ether goo that's coming through. They trying to control it. They trying to do something real sinister with it. Some call it graphite, which is ether. But anyways, keep going.
They're literally, they were doing all this, testing this, testing that, and their white counterparts were like, hey, you're messing up. You're doing this. You're taking us into a different reality that we don't know nothing about. And brothers and sisters, we're sitting here like, yes, do this, because we need to go there. All right. They put us in the sleep state, but we started awakening. All right. So,
just so you know, soon the planet, in case you guys didn't catch this in a couple of the videos, will have 4 suns in the daytime. That means 4 moons in the nighttime.
you see, you saw the video with all the ships in the sky. They already announced that there's an armada of ships coming straight to our planet. All right.
Facts. They have announced this. It's true.
Traveling at light speed, coming straight to our planet. This is why they're getting ready for war. Our awakening has literally caused a ripple effect across the galaxy. Because we're like, hey, we need help. We need help. Thoughts of frequencies. So basically what's happening right now is the timelines are mending together.
Which means that your higher self will start fighting in the spiritual world, which you already have started doing anyway, and it's all going to come together. It means you'll be fighting spiritually in this world. Well, hold on now.
All right, and we've talked about timelines before. Timeline is literally a frequency. All right, that's all the timeline is frequency, because all of us run on frequencies. And the frequency gives off a certain noted vibration that vibration literally becomes physical. It's like a manifestation. It becomes physical. So these timelines, we had this timeline, but then we had the false timeline that they created. This timeline is dying. The American timeline, the European timeline, the Australian timeline. See, all those timelines are dying off. So the proper timelines are mending together. As these timelines mend together, what happens? It becomes a new timeline. All right, it becomes a new timeline. Now we're starting to see different things in the ocean. We're starting to see different things on land. We're starting to see different things in the air. All right, we're starting to see different things in the spirit, because all of this. Sorry about that. All of this plays a role in everything. We're talking about the spiritual, the physical. We're talking about the water, the wind, the ground. Things are different in the ground. You know, we talked. I told you all a long time ago. I said, hey, our awakening is literally going to cause the waters to become like an luminescent blue. And what do you see? Different areas. Water is a luminescent blue. I told you guys this here. All right, as a timekeeper, you know, we control the timelines, and we're gonna very soon we're gonna see a lot of the trees and the grass. There's a luminescent blue, luminescent green, a luminescent red. Okay, because our awakening is literally shifting time. And like I said, because they turned on CERN. CERN belongs to us, because they turned on CERN. Every time they turn CERN on, it literally helps to power us up.
Okay, so now, hold on here. So, next thing in the news is this. I had to let y'all hear that video real quick, in case y'all didn't know that. But now we're going to get back to the news. The emergency that happened, Donald's plane targeted. Donald Trump's plane was targeted. 9 surface-to-air missiles. Oh, come on, y'all. Air missiles smuggled into the USA. Of course, they're going to smoke to the USA. It was already in the USA. That's the storyline they actually using. But, of course, I told y'all there's going to be more than one attempt on Donald Trump. This happened today. Didn't I tell y'all that? They're going to keep on trying to get rid of Trump. The Democrats, the Reptilian Party, really cannot afford to lose this race, this fake race, so that they can sit up there and find a way to keep control, so they can go to the digital coin and control the masses as more events unfold that is destroying their matrix and exposing their lies and waking more of our people up to at least to a certain extent, enough to help out us 144,000 to get rid of all the bull crap and try to turn this reality to a better reality, or leave this reality and go to a better reality. And also, when that time ends for us to go ahead and go back home to the ether and create a way better reality and get rid of the bad realities. Okay? Please understand that.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Luis. Today is September 28, 2024, and God bless to every single one of you. Guys, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have an urgent information coming out, and it says here, informant claim Donald plane targeted for takeout. 9 surface-to-air missiles smuggled into the U.S. This is a big breaking news, very concerning. 4 days ago, I posted this breaking news. Could be related. Very powerful equipment found on Mexico's side of border. Now, the BP is sounding the alarm here. All right, so we're going to see what's going on with, not this story. We already talked about this one here. But, yeah, we're going to talk about this. I
told some of you that
this information is
Mexico Army is, of course, down with Russia, and they plan to help attack the United States. If I haven't told you, now you know. I just wanted you to hear that real quick. You should go check this guy out. Yeah, he believes in Mr. J, but just avoid that part and get straight to the news and you find stuff that's happening. Okay? At least some of the events. So now you know that it's happening. Listen, I told you I was going to bring y'all what's happening. Now, hold on. Surprisingly, I think I can show you another video, and I think I just may do that, matter of fact. So here we go. How many hours we've been on here? 3 hours. I'm out of time for more. I'm not going to charge this thing up anymore today. So when the battery runs out, I got to end the show before it runs out. So what am I looking for now? Oh, I know what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pull some videos up on the screen. Okay. And then we're going to have at it maybe like 1 or 2 more. Maybe 1 or 2 more. All right. Well, uh-oh. Hold on. I'll plug it in just for a couple of seconds. All right, hold on now. Okay, the other video that I didn't show you. This will be a quick one. Russia, man. Whoa, what the heezy fo sheezy was that? All right. Nobody wants to see no shit like that. Come on, what the fuck, man? I see this. Russia
coming out. The Bear State.
Russia is going to come for Alaska. If you don't know, there's a lot of technology in Alaska. They're going to go fight for Alaska. There's some stuff in Alaska that they want really bad. And so there'll be a war in Alaska as well. Okay. Also, I told you about the dirty Moors. We'll get to that in a second. Now I seen that. The Moors wanted us to be human. I'm trying to speed this up. Okay. They want us to be human. That's why they start mixing. Let's get to this. The one video they didn't mention. So for those who didn't want to believe that this country means you no good, and all the countries at this point mean you no good, you see evidence of their plan. They have done this. Again, many times before. There's nothing new under the sun, y'all. Okay.
Medal of Honor, Navy Cross, 2 Navy Distinguished Service Medals, 2 Legion
All right, here we go.
a Distinguished Flying Cross,
Whoa.
and a Congressional Gold
Whoa,
Medal
whoa, whoa.
tells you 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Okay, let's jump back.
You need to stop whatever you're doing and listen. This man is telling us that Antarctica.
All right, Antarctica has a lot more than what they're saying. Here we go.
Man is telling us that Antarctica isn't what we think it is, that it's actually an advanced continent where people have been living for generations. If he's right, everything we've been told so far is a lie. We already know they lie to us, but this would be the biggest lie of all. You then start to realize that the lies aren't the problem. The real problem is what's being covered up in Antarctica, and that's why they're lying. Admiral Richard E. Byrd was one of the most decorated officers in the U.S. Navy. He was the only person in New York to have 3 parades held in his honor. He was also one of only 4 U.S. military officials entitled to wear a medal with his own image on it. When it came to achievements, credibility, and accolades, there was no one like Richard E. Byrd. But Byrd was best known for his explorations. He explored places no one wanted to go. Byrd always wanted to be first in everything. It was like an obsession for him. That's why he had many first awards, like being the youngest admiral at 41. This obsession with being first is why he led 5 different expeditions to Antarctica from the early 1900s to the early 2000s. While the last 3 trips were funded by the U.S. government, the first 2 were paid for out of his own pocket and by some supporters. Byrd's first trip to Antarctica was in 1928 with 2 ships and 3 Polanes. Throughout the summer, trips were made to take photographs and study the rocks. Constant radio contact with the outside world was maintained. In the summer of 1933 and 1934, Byrd made his second trip and worked alone for 5 months at an advanced base with a meteorological station. During this expedition, he nearly died from carbon monoxide poisoning from a stove with inadequate airflow. While these were great and useful discoveries, they weren't a number of steps to make it easier to use these ships and planes in Arctic conditions. At the same time, they wanted to see if this could be done over long distances. Operation High Jump was created to be declaration of nuclear-capable B-29 bombers so they could fly from Alaska. What I've told
We're going to speed that up is because the excuse was they were going out there to test boats that could supposedly be designed to last to handle that type of cold weather. But of course, when they got there, they saw green, they saw land, and when this guy, which you will see really soon, went past what they're talking about, he saw a lot more. Hold on.
already knew he was about to start a war, so he was putting things in order and getting help from all sides, even from areas people would say were crazy to even think about. Imagine you're on the verge of war, and then you send your troops to find mysterious ancient artifacts that could be used to your advantage. Sounds silly, doesn't it? But not for Hitler. Anything that could help him was being investigated. That's why he approved many expeditions. Established their own.
I made a movie about that too. Remember
The
that?
NFL season is here. Get NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV and watch
Made a movie
underground
about
facility.
that as well, y'all. Made a movie about that as well. They showed you how he was looking for evidence. Now I want to get to the part that's important, though. This is the reason why I'm showing you the video.
over the South Pole, talking to the American people over live radio relayed to listeners by the Navy. It was like watching your favorite influencer talk or share their experiences. But during the broadcast, Byrd was cut off from his radio monologue for almost 3 hours. No one could hear him, not even the Navy. This was a problem. No one knew where Byrd was or could communicate with him. After Byrd released his diary, we were able to see what happened during those 3 lost hours. We are crossing over small mountain ranges and still proceeding northward. Beyond the mountains, there is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center. There should be no green valley below. There is definitely something wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side, there are large forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. Byrd had stumbled upon a place he couldn't explain. Antarctica is one of the coldest places on Earth. There shouldn't be warmth and green vegetation. Even more confusingly, Byrd mentions that he can no longer see the sun, which was worrying for him because he was having trouble with his navigation system. So he had to use the sun to navigate, and now he couldn't find the sun. The light here seems different. I can't see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal below. It looks like an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible. But there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It is confirmed it is definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to base camp. He tried to reach them by radio, but the radio wasn't working, and that's when he saw it. Ahead, we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. The plane is light and seems to be floating in a strange way. The controls are not responding.
To tell you what's going on besides why he's explaining stuff to you, what's really down there, there are pyramids also in Antarctica. Pyramids that have not been explored. So ice is melting, so now they can be explored. They're fighting over the pyramids to get this nanotech suits that we used to use in war against them. Okay, and they plan to use it as technology for something else. You know what I'm talking about.
My God, there are strange types of aircraft outside our port and starboard wings. They are approaching rapidly. They are disc-shaped and have a shiny appearance. They are close enough that we can see the markings on them. Some kind of swastika. It was wonderful. Byrd didn't even know what he was seeing. Was it an alien? An ancient civilization? Or were they really the Aryans the Germans were looking for? Byrd's radio finally started working, and a voice speaking English with a Nordic or German accent was heard. The voice told Byrd that they would help him land and that he shouldn't worry. He was in good hands. This was happening during World War II, so being told to trust someone speaking with a German accent was like asking the devil for help. But Byrd couldn't do anything or escape. His plane's engine stopped, and it went under a strange control. It was driving itself and even landed safely on its own. You know, Drew, a few men are approaching our plane on foot. They are tall and blonde. In the distance, there is a large city shimmering with rainbow colors. I don't know what's going to happen now, but I don't see any weapons on those approaching. I hear a voice ordering me to open the cargo door, saying my name. I obey. Byrd was taken from the plane and put into a small, platform-like vehicle without wheels and taken to the city. Byrd was amazed by what he saw. A very beautiful city made of crystal materials. He was then taken to a large building where he met the person known as the Master. I see a man with delicate features and the marks of years. He is sitting at a long table. He motions for me to sit down. After I sit, he brings his fingertips together and smiles. He speaks softly again and says, "We have allowed you to enter here because you are of noble character and well known on the surface world, Admiral." "Surface world?" I stammered. "Yes," the Master replied with a smile. "You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the Earth." Byrd was shocked. If what the Master said was true, then everything we knew about our universe and Earth was wrong. Byrd's amazement and the hollow Earth theory. The hollow Earth theory is an idea that some people believe there is a cavity at the center of the Earth and even life there. In the 1690s, English astronomer Edmund Halley proposed to the Royal Society of London that the Earth was made up of spherical shells rotating in different directions, and that life could be supported in the spaces between these shells. In the 1810s, American officer John Cleves Sims Jr. suggested that these spheres could be reached through holes at the North and South poles. Some people claim that this place is home to aliens, Vikings, ancient cultures, and even Nazis trying to escape the Allies. They also claim that Adam and Eve in the Bible were expelled from inside the earth to the outside, and that the lost tribes of Israel might...
Now, of course, they're going to talk about their Adam and Eve and all that stuff. We ain't going to talk about their Adam and Eve. So I'll stop it right there. The fact is, Antarctica is not what everybody thinks. There's tons of technology that can be used for weapons, for war. They know this, and they want to use them. Okay, I don't think I'm going to show any more videos for today. I have some more to show. I'm just thinking that And I apologize for not showing my face like I usually do. I do have a slight cold. It's been getting better. So, but if y'all want to rock out with me for a couple of seconds, we'll get some music going for a couple of seconds, and then we'll end this whole thing. Yeah, it's like 4 more videos I had to show. So we'll save that for another time. And thanks for being patient. I was definitely way behind on videos, the news, showing you some things, explaining some things as well. And those who had stayed and watched the show, or at least a good portion, and definitely the whole show. Hopefully you have learned something or have been confirmed something with the evidence. Hopefully you have been more enlightened. Okay? So yeah, let's play one song. And I think that'll be it, y'all.
Look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, should I get better? The answer is yes. You do that for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, how much better are you going to be?
I get better. I get better. I get better. I get better. Yeah, I get better. I get better. Higher than a Gucci sweater. I get better. Just so clever. I get better. I get better. Yeah, I get better. Just so clever. I get better. 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 Just too clever. Teaching for a long time. Teaching nothing but facts. Man, you must be out of your mind. I get better. I get better. I walk the leather. Just too clever. I get better. 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 I'm whole, hard, cold. You can't stop it. No way to stop it. No way to stop it. No way to block it. Don't get on my topic. I'll go ahead and rock it. I get better. I get better. I get better. Watch the leather. Watch that leather. I get better. I put it together. I put it together. Ain't no fooling me. That third eye open. Going berserking. You're teaching that wrong things, but I get better. I get better. So hard than a Gucci sweater. I get better. I ain't walk the leather, but get your shit together. 'Cause I get better. A long time, teaching hard all the time. Going hard, doing live. I'm a mind, can't stop it. Can't stop it. I get better. I get better. I rock it better. I get better. I get better. I wear leather. I get better. I get better. Go berserk in the studio. Teaching so hard. How you feel like, oh my. See, I get better. 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 I put it all together. And you can't stop it. Cause the truth is so hard. That's all I teach. The facts. Anything else is waxy. I get better. I don't do no religious superstition. See, I get better. I get better. I get better. And I ain't walking the leather. I get better.
Okay, so y'all.
I got no smoke, but your head's are clean.
Listen now, y'all. Stop with the crystals. Stop with any outside things, praying to things, asking for things. Stop. Stop. They're trying to eradicate all the original people. Stop falling for their tricks. Please. Everything you need is in you. That's why they keep stealing your. That's why, you know, they do autopsies to take certain things from our people. You know what I'm talking about. Okay? Your body parts are weapons. You don't even know. You have no idea that you are seriously God as a collective. We are one. all for one and one for all. Together we stand, divided we fall. They know this. And now that our minds, our third eye, as you sit in your throne, which is right behind the third eye, and you can actually see through your eyes, you can spiritually see now, because you are in this vehicle called a body. And now you can spiritually see everything that they have been throwing at you for a long time now. And at the right time, that they are literally trying to eradicate. Population control. You got all these people coming into this country of different nationalities. Their armies are paid. They're terrorists. Ask me a question. All these so-called caravans coming through, where's the ladies at? Where was the kids at? What happened to that? I didn't see that. How come all these strong mans is coming up in here? Trump had a point when he said that. He said it was going to happen, and then what's happening is turns when it's happening. And guess what? It's still happening on a whole nother level. They want to call an invasion. They tell it's an invasion, having border problems. Please, y'all let them folks walk in there on candid camera for the world to see, on the news. Like, seriously, why you stop the lies? Peace and love, family. Anytime. And now you see everything these guys doing. And we supposed to be non-ether light beings. We ain't got no business ask for nothing. Our whole point is to escape this reality. Yo, we get out of here. We can stop these people, these things at the T's once and for all. And once they're gone, totally gone, never to exist again, we can create something beautiful from where we started from. We exist because we exist. It is simple. The book you call the Bible Gives Tip Iceberg reminds me I gotta send a bunch of books to somebody. That reminds me, and I will do that. All right. Anybody that don't have a lot of books, that needs a lot of books, please. I'm pretty sure some of y'all have my number. People call me questions all the time. If you ever have a deep question for definitely deep understanding, so you can get to the bottom of understanding instead of knowing the tip of the iceberg, all you got to do is ring my phone. It ain't hard to find me. Peace and love. I love all of you. Hope all of you really have learned something in Eyes Awake, and I hope at least that you understand the news that I showed you about what these guys are actually doing, what they're going to use certain things for, and how they're actually really getting ready to go to what they call war. And how, inadvertently and on purpose by design, the war is really against the original people. The crazy place we're existing right now. Good thing with multiple dimensional beings. I'm pretty sure as we go, when our bodies shut down, they can fly out here. Right? It's way better than this. Peace and love. I love all of you, all of our people, from the kings to the queens, to, that fly won't bother me for. Look, devil on send a little spider bother me in the form of a fly. Mad that I'm teaching the truth and can't stop it. New topic, like I said. Don't give me one because I'll go ahead and I'll rock it. But anyways, it's time, y'all. The time is upon us. The day remembrance is upon us. The hypernova is upon us. And everything that they fed is upon them. Everything's going to get way worse before it gets better. Understand that. Understand that, please. If you got a half, which is really another 100, you just don't understand that other half. Most of y'all don't understand y'all other half at all. That's part of the problem. Anyways, and there's a lot of reasons, but I'm not even going to go there. Men and women need to watch this certain woman that teaches. And man, she going to piss y'all off. But when y'all sat down and everything she said about men and women and stuff y'all doing wrong, Y'all change real fast. Good luck to everybody. Let's escape this bullshit. The place we got tricked to come to. Way too many damn times. You know, the funny thing is what's the one thing that you didn't know? What's it like? What's it like not to know that you God as a collective? You looking for Jesus, rebuke that name. You looking for the ultimate sacrifice, but you didn't know that you were their ultimate sacrifice. Let's go, people. Peace and love.